Well, I think it's just should I begin?
Well, hang on, I think yeah, we are live. We are live, guys. Okay, and yeah,
Okay, it
and
happened.
we were having a brief off-stream conversation, guys, regarding one of our guests regarding Vallun. Okay, the god of RP, god of memes, and the god of taking Sam's rating, apparently, as we now know. So that's
Dude, can you not?
yeah,
Thanks.
that's yet
I'm so
another
salty.
title for you to
Yeah.
have there. But there's something else very special about Vallun, guys, and he's among a few tea time guests. I think a great example of this is Roy for some reason, Roy, aka Helium Boy, and Plenix as well, who just hard trigger everyone, and I don't really understand why. And I don't know, Vallun, do you have any insight into that? Like, are you aware of the fact that you trigger people very hard in the YouTube comment section? Does that give you pleasure? Does that give you joy and happiness?
No, it's actually kind of annoying, but I know why it is. It's because my opinions are very strong, and so the people who are very against them will speak up and be very, likewise vehement about their opposing my opinion.
But I mean, my opinions are pretty strong as well, right? Maybe you could say even more strong than yours, right?
Yeah, but Frosty, your opinions are kind of like you don't like try to like argue so much as like you just like force it.
Right.
So like
okay.
the people who oppose you can just like brush it off, but like I actually try to methodically go about it, and so like people who try to like oppose it have to like really go through some mental delusional like hoops to like find a way to like hate.
Calling everyone who disagrees with you delusional right up.
Well, no, not everyone. There are a lot of people that disagree with me, but we come to agreements on some things, right? But the people who we're talking about, those are the ones that are obviously like very obtrusive.
Well, that's actually a fun thing. You know how there's the meme that you're the debate god, the ultimate debate winner, like always wins your debates. People actually take that seriously, very seriously. They believe that you actually think you are the debate master, like an actual intellectual debate. Like that's your shtick as well. So that's
where did that even come from? I mean, I know it comes from Destiny, right? But why did that get attributed to me?
I think it's because Teapot put like your name as a debate lord in one of his tea time titles.
Right,
so
but he had to have gotten that from somewhere first.
I think.
Well, I mean,
put it
obviously,
in
he
one
just
of
makes
your
it up,
stream
you know? Yeah.
Maybe it was me. Yeah, maybe I got it from Destiny.
Yeah. I'm not sure what the exact origin of that. No, to be honest, I think I do. I do. I'm not even sure if we should really bring that up, honestly, because it might have been from the early days of that. Okay, the get on
It was a
Discord
little
and
bit
debate
before
me.
that, but yeah, I think that's what most people remember.
Think that that might have been it. But
Wait, what, before he started humping his bed? What do you mean?
No, Frosty.
No.
What are you
sandwich.
talking about here?
The sandwich.
Yeah, the sandwich? Yeah. Okay, the sandwich. Right.
Dude, I missed all of that. Wait, humping his bed?
You don't want to know.
Let's not even go.
Yeah,
there.
I do want to know right now. I missed
You
that.
do,
I
but
can
I
send
do.
you both the videos, the sandwich and
What?
the humping.
Oh, yes.
But anyway, yeah, let's not even go there, guys. Wow, look, it's tea time, and something that's funny about this tea time, guys, is that we actually, for once, we have weeaboos, right? A lot of weeaboos on this tea time, and that's a new thing. But what are we going to talk about today? Well, I thought what's something we could talk about is like, what do we actually want for Guild Wars 2? Like normally on tea time, it's always just a fiesta where we just say, wow, this is trash. Okay, look at this. This is absolute garbage. Okay, and then discuss current event, discuss what's going on. But what if we actually, for once, like this is a very rare thing amongst the player base of a game. Like, what if we actually voiced our opinions on things that we actually want for the game? Like, and especially, I think this works out well here because we have Sam and Frosty here. Two players who used to be considerably more active. I think that'll be fair to say. I think Frosty has now gone off to play Osu, which is, that's kind of like Guild Wars 2, except not at all like Guild Wars 2. Yeah, And I don't even know what Sam's doing. I have no idea.
Dude, I'm maining real life. Like, I decided that Viewers 2 was just not worth it. And I'm like, I'm going to quit this and quit that. And then I realized that there's nothing I can quit anymore because I quit everything that I did before.
Oh.
I'm like, real life's good, you know? And I reinstalled Final Fantasy 14 as well, so...
Oh.
There's that. I went to the weeb side of things.
Yeah.
Dude, it's fun. I was going to say it's fun, I play, and then I realized I actually play a Catboy. So yeah, I'm a weeb.
What the... Sam!
Dude, it looks cute!
But anyway then, let's go on that question then. So Sam, what do you find lacking in Guild Wars 2? Why did you think Guild Wars 2 isn't worth it anymore? Is it because of the content cycle? Is it because of the difficulty of the content, the direction of the game? Is it going in the wrong way? Like what is the problem there? What would bring you back to the game? What is the issue?
Dude, like very simply, what I was doing in Guild Wars 2 was I would log in every Monday, do my raids, and then I would be like, okay, now my raids are done. What can I do? I could raid on my alt accounts like you do, but that's boring as hell, to me at least. Then I was like, I can play PvP, but then I got tilted by all the mirages around. I see Georges in the chat, like, hi Josh! And we share that opinion. And then I was like, okay, so I'm not having fun in PvP, my raids are over, I can just play like Overwatch, Final Fantasy 14, something else for the rest of my week. And then at that point I realized the only reason why I do the raids is just because I was number 5 on the LI leaderboards, and I kept that spot for like 2 years something. And I was like, this is my accomplishment. And then I realized it was such a shitty accomplishment that I could just swipe that under the rug.
I don't actually think that's a shitty accomplishment, though.
I was actually number 3, and I forgot to loot escort twice. So it's a shitty accomplishment because I lost ranks for that.
That actually has a lot to do with something I was going to bring up later, but go on.
Yeah, it's just I would play the game just to maintain that rank, or just to think, oh, okay, I still have relevancy because I'm like somewhere on the leaderboard or something. So then I set out to play PvP until I would get like to top 100 or top 50, which I achieved within 1 season on a fresh account. I was like, that's not worth it either. There's literally nothing in Guild Wars 2 that's going to bring me satisfaction. So why would I keep trying?
Wow.
And that's when I decided I'm just going to do more stuff IRL, go out, see friends, whatever, and then play other games. So reinstall Final Fantasy 14, which actually has raids, dungeons, instanced content, a huge map to explore, way too many quests, and like that's actually fulfilling. I'm playing new stuff. I'm not rehashing the same content just because I want to remain relevant in it. So that's it.
And Catboy.
I mean, it has Catboys as well, but that's another matter.
Yeah.
Please don't kink shame me for my Catboy.
Okay. Well,
thanks.
I think that's a pretty common complaint, to be frank. I think that's certainly one that I have as well. Like in the people who are in the category of people who are a bit fed up with Guild Wars 2, I guess I actually have to include myself in that as well. Actually, and that's a big part of it. It's this lack of replayability, this lack of repeatable end game content. It's not really. It's pretty poor in that aspect. It is lacking a lot. Like, and you could even actually argue this is the case in PvP as well. Of course, PvP is very much player-driven, replayable content. But the thing is, again, it has a tendency to just stay very, very stagnant indeed. And you could argue it even tends to go down a slightly worse route, as we see that the latest patch has just introduced, the scourge of ranked, the scrapper now as well. So again, like PvP to a certain extent finds itself in a very stale spot as well, right, where things don't change very quickly, and that's obviously true of World versus World as well. It's definitely the most true of World versus World. The game mode just never changes at all, and I think in a way, this static nature of the game, like as Sam is saying, right, there's nothing new, there's nothing fresh, is what causes a lot of veteran players to leave. Is because you find yourselves just rehashing the same thing, just going over the same stuff over and over and over again, right? And yeah, I don't know. The one thing I would add to that as well is that I find a lot of the content in the game like spectacularly shallow as well. Like this is very much like almost like a collection game at this point. Like, you just run around and interact, press F with things, and then collect them about the map. Like that's ArenaNet's idea of this epic open world content, is running around pressing F and picking up boxes, right? And that is just. It is woefully inadequate, especially when you consider that's supposed to be almost like the bulk of the content in a way. That is the focus of the game, is the living world, right? And that is that. Yeah, if that's your main focus, then we've got a bit of a situation here. That's probably not that good, in my opinion. It's a bit of a clown fiesta in terms of that. And well, this kind of segues into I don't agree with like, the way the game is currently being focused, right? I think they're not playing to their strengths, but that is a story for another time. Like Vallun, what were you gonna bring into the mix there? You're gonna bring up a point?
I was gonna say like kind of like how you said that the content is shallow. Like they just come out with new episodes and then people do that, and then they move back to their daily farms or whatever, right? And I was thinking that maybe Kate wants to say something about this as well, but how they could go back to doing like feature packs and make do changes to like the whole game rather than adding on top of it, right? So one thing that we discussed was like hard modes, so that would make map completion somewhat challenging, right? And even dungeon hard modes. And I even thought about this idea, like they could make a like third. Okay, I know this is kind of like a meme because they took like 2 years to do the second gen, but they come out with the third gen of legendaries. You could do hard mode map completion for like the hard mode, gift of exploration and stuff like that, and that would give a lot of replayability to older content.
If I may, I don't think that having a hard mode on map completion or hard mode in dungeon would really breathe like new life into the game. Because if you've grinded the dungeons thousands and thousands of time over, just because they add a hard mode, and like whichever you want to have in that hard mode, like bosses having more health or mechanics being less forgiving, or you yourself not being allowed to take a single hit, it's not really going to make the game better. Like you don't need something that's already existing to become hard mode. You need some new stuff to be there. And
Not
that's it.
necessarily.
Like I don't think anybody that I know would think that getting all the old content in hard mode would be an excuse to keep playing the game beyond a few extra weeks. Like
I
it's
can
just
kind of
gonna be
understand
the
that.
same.
To an extent, but I don't know if you guys don't mind. I really think that having Guild Wars 1, for example, hard mode really revitalized people who had kind of run out of content in PvE. So it would also be easy for them to implement is the other thing. There wouldn't be lots of months in, working on things, maybe deleting some ideas. They could just simply implement an entire hard mode system where they just up the difficulty of what's already existing.
And that would
Right, so
also
then that means-
influence future content as well, right?
Yeah, exactly. Then future content would include that as well.
Yeah, I would be curious as to how they would actually implement that. Like, what do you think the mechanism for that would be? Because in Guild Wars 1, it was pretty easy to do that because of the way the NPC system worked, like the way the creature system worked. Like, they used the same spells as the players, right? And they could simply add additional spells to the bar of those monsters, like give them an elite skill, give them some more stat points, right? And I think that would, that kind of thing, the stat points would be pretty easy to implement. But I think Guild Wars 2 is a game that's a bit more difficult to make, to increase the difficulty of just by like ramping up stuff like that, because the techniques that you use on normal mode would still be really, really effective on hard mode, if that makes any sense, right?
I don't know if you talked about this on your stream recently, but you said how like in beta Guild Wars 2, the mobs like didn't stand in AoEs, and they actually had to like globally nerf all like mob AIs because people thought it was too hard. But I think we're like not beta players now. We can learn how to use our skills against mobs that can move,
Yeah, force people to actually use.
And that's
like,
how it
PvP
worked in
strategies.
Guild Wars.
Yeah, I actually think this is a really good idea. I think I would side with you guys. I think adding hard mode to this sort of thing would be a really good idea. Like, the implementation is interesting though. Like, how do you see the map completion hard mode system actually working though? It's a bit again in Guild Wars 1. It was instanced, right? Everything was kind of instant, so it's a bit easier to set up, right?
Yeah, I understand. It'd be difficult, but like one example could be like, you know how you can't channel like a Vista or something without being out of combat, right? There's going to be a lot more mobs, and it's going to be a lot more cluttered around the place, and they're going to be like veterans and champions around. So it's probably going to be unbalanced. Like if you're a thief, you can just freely go wherever, but maybe they would have like some kind of like reveal mechanics as well around, and like you'd have to actually kill the mobs to get the Vista or whatever, and it would be challenging.
Yeah, making hearts, like changing how hearts work for hard mode, for example, if you could actually lose progress in your heart if you lost certain objectives. If you died, you'd have to reset all your progress. Things like that, I think, would be, I don't know, could add an interesting kind of factor to PvE, because I don't really like PvE, but...
Yeah, and certainly playing with the AI and making actually do something instead of just like mindlessly stack up and get cleaved down, that would certainly make it a lot more interesting. And I don't know. I think it would also be a really good thing for immersion, right? Like, you know, if they have this capacity to have this quite clever AI, but it just never gets used, it's a bit depressing.
Yeah.
We've seen videos of it working, and yet it's too.
I mean, it is in TA Aetherpath. It is there. The Sparky and Slick, are they named those?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Yeah,
those two bosses, they do that. They move away from the AoEs. I tested
And
that.
I think that's a very well designed boss as well.
Because I was soloing that path on Reaper, not very successfully, but I was doing it, and they moved away from my AoEs. They did. Every single time.
yeah, and
it was amazing.
And it is certainly true, right? That some mobs do exhibit this capacity, right? It's not like it's just completely wasted, but it would be really interesting if approaching a pack of mobs would actually be a bit more of a threat. I mean, to a certain extent, the open world is just the mobs there are just they just like run into you and just instantly die, right? Like nothing in the open world really presents any kind of challenge or threat, right? There's no effort required, and I think that's kind of what causes the content to seem like a very much you play it once and then just never do it again, right? Like there's no replayability because in a way you've already mastered it the first time you beat it because of how easy it is. If that makes sense, right? There's no journey to mastering it. There's no effort you need to put in or work to get some of this stuff done, and that, yeah, I definitely think that hard mode can be a really good thing. But like, regardless of that, adding challenge modes and hard modes to old content, I think it would actually be a really good approach for ArenaNet, because surely it would be easier to, instead of making a brand new raid boss, it's got to be easier to make Veil Guardian CM, right? Surely it's got to be easier to do that than Doom CM probably was not as hard to make as just Doom. Right, obviously, like, Doom is very complicated. There's a lot of graphics there, but with Doom CM, all you gotta do is just increase its HP, and then boom, spawn the Echo, make it run around in circles. Easy game, easy game.
Well, I don't think anyone disagrees that like challenge modes and hard modes would be good for the game, but I think maybe like we should address the point that like Sam made, that he would prefer new stuff rather than making old stuff better. Like maybe you can elaborate on like what you look for in a game, Sam, to like make you feel, because I know you're playing Final Fantasy 14 right now, so you probably prefer like new stuff, right? Because you've played Guild Wars 2, so maybe talk about that a little bit.
Like, I mean, it's not really so much about the new content that I'm finding in New Fantasy. Like, of course, having new dungeons, new bosses, new graphics, a completely different gameplay is enjoyable because I have to relearn everything. For the first time in like years, because for the last 5-6 years I've been playing Guild Wars 2, I actually have to look at skills, look at what my skills do together, look at the traits, the passive to know how they interact, look at bosses, try to learn their patterns or look for tells. And this is fresh, this is enjoyable. And that's what I meant earlier by saying if they make old content hard mode, I wouldn't be satisfied, because at the end of the day, it's going to be the same old animations. Just something is going to be a little bit harder, but it won't be new. At the end of the day, I would still know everything that the bosses are going to do, because I'll have done them way too many times before. And in Final Fantasy XIV, I was surprised to see some different mechanics, stuff more based on line of sight, where you have to turn around, where you have to stand in a specific spot because an obstacle is appearing at a specific time and you need to hide behind it. not to get hit by something. I think that in Guild Wars 2, they should capitalize a bit more on terrain, a little bit more on line of sight, and on other mechanics that they just completely left in a corner to give us the content that we have right now, which is mostly in open world or in living story. Kill the thing that's in front of you, even if it has mechanics or tells you don't care because it won't kill you. And when you're in raids, you're going to have a tanking mechanics, and pretty much everyone else can press buttons to deal damage, while you have one or two healers literally carrying the entirety of the squad, because you can overheal pretty much anything without any effort. The worst case being a heal necromancer. I mean, the Scourge. But Teapot plays a lot. You literally cannot fail. Like, you have to try to die. Like, you need to GG to render it useless.
There are some encounters that still you can't carry that hard. I mean, like Doom Scene.
Yeah, I mean, unless someone deliberately dies or has no idea what to do and then dies, you can pretty much save anything. Like, even one-shot mechanics can be completely countered by taking a correct healer. Like the Conjured Amalgamate Clap, just use Rebound. Why even care?
Right, but that's on normal mode, right?
I think enemies just need to hit harder. That's what happened in Guild Wars 1. If you didn't have your line of sight set up, if you didn't have your pull correct, even if you had a great team, you would die. There was no getting around it. So I think it's
that's
just too
what
forgiving.
hard mode would do.
I'm not quite sure. I mean, there is still, I mean, like, when you mean one shot, you mean straight from having health to being completely defeated, no downstate. Is that what you mean then? Because like, as long as you have downstate being a thing, you're gonna have heal scourge being a thing. You're gonna have rebound being a thing.
Downstate PvE.
Anything that's lethal,
I think there's
that brings you to
counterplay to that,
downstate, you can counter it.
Like if bosses have like multiple one shots, like Kadim CM, like if you down to the boss's like shockwave and then you get hit by the like floating balls right after you, that can happen, right? So I think there are, you can design ways that exists where you can't just get res carried.
I mean, you could also just remove downstate in hard mode.
I think that
would be correct.
I actually think that would be good. I actually think that would be a really good thing to do, at least on some fights. Yeah. Like, removing downstate would certainly make things a bit more difficult. Like a lot of the mechanics of Guild Wars 2 inherently make it easy.
Doesn't that make it like less complex though as well? I guess you would have to support people with ages rather than resing, right?
You'd have to pretty much play around it. Yeah, it would make it so much better not to have downstate.
It would make it less complex in a way, so you don't have things like transfusion, but it would also make it more complex because now you actually need to not go in downstate, and that's a lot different. That's very complex.
Yeah, you need to.
Guild Wars 1 did have mechanics to help people with that, things like infuse.
Well, the one thing where this does slightly fall apart is that for hard in Guild Wars 1 hard mode, if you knew what you were doing, it was also essentially trivial because of the mechanics of the game. If you brought the correct setup, you could effectively turn invulnerable and just one-shot everything. Like, what I'm trying to get at there is that if you're a really veteran player who's really good at raids, really experienced with raids, if you just or really experienced with the open world and stuff like that, if you just scale up the damage and the mechanics of stuff, it won't even really help that much because a lot of the players are already really good at them, and there's a lot of cheese in the game, right? There's a lot of cheese in Guild Wars 2 and Guild Wars 1, right?
Isn't that kind of like the fun part, though, is like understanding what skills are strong in what situation?
Yeah, I think that's fair.
They'd have to balance PvE a little.
They have to balance it. Well, I mean, they have to balance the game. Ooh.
Again, like, what are you bringing on the table? We said today was PMA.
Well, what? Come on.
Balance?
This has been.
This is not a good topic, man.
This is an exposed stream.
Yeah, this is an exposed stream. Wait, why is that a bad topic, guys? What's going on there? I don't know.
Like balance. I mean, I don't know. Like, I've played 2 PvP games in the last week, and it was horrible. Because like in my team, there were 2 of these scrappers. In the enemy team, there were 2 of these scrappers. Then I was just there dumbfounded as they just ran around the point with barrier. Just ran.
But you can
Yeah, you can run behind them. Yeah,
Yeah, it is a balance issue, but yeah,
but they're so well balanced, you know. Like, I mean, obviously they must be that sturdy. I can run behind them. I can deal damage. I can bring them low, and then the rest of my team is obviously gonna try to dunk on them. But still,
the thing is, like, it's
die fast
really
enough.
good in like low tier play to play Scrapper, right? Because you just don't die. But like in high tier, it is kind of balanced. So
is this
maybe,
pretty
like,
balanced in high tier? Like,
it is pretty balanced in high tier.
Are your
Yeah,
games
I
high
agree.
tier, Vallun?
It's balanced, but it's not fun.
Yeah, it's not fun.
That's a good way to put it, Frosty.
Yeah, the Scrapper thing. I think a lot of people's complaints are it's very brain dead, right? It's like the ultimate brain dead thing to play right now. It's very. The only word I can think of is unfun. Right? It's a lot like playing versus Weaver, right? Like no one wants to play against that, guys. You know, it's just not fun. I think this kind of feeds into another problem, like with the game, and something that really does drive people away. Is that you're stuck with this for 3 months, by the way.
Yeah.
Nice meme.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, with luck, more. So.
Yeah,
I mean, who wants to play against that? Because you know that anybody can play it with like I mean, I could cut 3 of my fingers and still be able to play that Scrapper build, and that's a problem. It's way too easy. You just need to run around with your barrier, and it's completely fine. You don't even need to play actively. You literally sit on a point and run, and you just wait for people to either rotate into you, whether it be your team or the enemy team, and then you take a decision.
Barrier is a big disadvantage, though, because when they run out of barrier, they've got nothing left. So all you have to do is really time it correctly. It does take the enemies fighting them to know the weaknesses. So I think that's what people haven't gotten used to yet.
I don't think the issue of Scrapper is how difficult it is or how strong it is. I think the issue is just when you're fighting against it, you want to die. I mean,
yeah, that is correct. Yes.
But it can't.
Like, there should be nothing like that in the game.
It doesn't do any
especially
damage.
if like your teammates do no damage. It's like you just feel like powerless.
Like, I mean, I had that game against you, Vallun, like 3 days ago or something. It was in the morning. I was having my morning coffee before going to work, and I was looking into having an enjoyable time playing Guild Wars 2 PvP. As I load the match, I see a thief whose name I have no idea of. And I'm like, that's probably a memer or a weeaboo, and it's fine. And then I see the Monkey Lord, and I'm like, oh, the Monkey Lord, that's Wooden Potatoes. That must be Vallun with him.
Wait.
Then I see in your team 1 Bonker Scrapper. In my team, there is 2 of them. And I'm like, obviously, I have the superior setup. Yeah. I have 2 dildos who can stand on 2 separate nodes and annoy the shit out of you until I get a win. And then my Scrappers were walking around together. And somehow died to you on a thief when they had so much barrier. And both of them could literally just run outside of the point when they were low on it, and the other would still run around like a chicken with its head still on. You know? Still they died to you. It was horrible. Even Wooden Potatoes managed to kill them.
Wow.
Alone.
Whoa!
No, I mean, he was alone with both of them, and he killed them. How? Tell me how.
PMA, by the way.
Yeah, dude, this is not very PMA. Oh my goodness.
This is very PMA. Because at the end of the day, I just sat there and I was like, this is all fine. This is what Guild Wars 2 is. I am enjoying this. These guys are having the fun of their life, just running around. And here I am sipping my coffee, watching them die while I sit on the only friendly node. It was all good. Except that I lost. And that I still look at Scrapper and think this should not exist. They're having fun. I am...
So
not really having fun, it's okay, but
so why is it possible to have fun in PvP?
Of course it's possible to have fun.
There's a silver line.
Yeah, there is salvation possible if there is more alcohol in my blood than blood itself.
Wow.
See?
Over 50%. Well, I don't know. Like Scrapper, I don't know. I'm pretty uncertain about it. It doesn't seem that good to me. But then again, I'm not really playing much PvP right now because I don't know. It's AIDS, and I don't want AIDS. But
it was a PMA stream. Did you just use the A word?
Yes. Well, come on. There's nothing wrong with a bit of AIDS, Sam. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that. But you know, let's bring it back to PMA. Let's bring it back to PMA here. Okay. So what you're telling me, Sam, is that you politely suggest that the game gets balanced more frequently. Is that what it is?
Definitely so. I think that when something arises, such as Bunker Scrapper or Bunker Chrono, the devs would actually be playing the game, see that there is an issue, and be like, oh my god, this is not fun to play against. And then they would fix it. Take the magic stick, hit the game with the magic stick, fix. Because like obviously if you don't have fun against something as a player, if the devs played the game and faced it, they wouldn't have fun either. I assume the devs are like the average player. And if the average player doesn't have fun against a scrapper, the devs wouldn't either. The issue being that they don't play against them, obviously, otherwise they would have seen that it's horrible and needs a fix.
Well, you don't have to fight everything you see, do you? You can just rotate around it.
Okay, this suggestion does not compute with my testosterone. I see something red, I hit on the red.
What if you're on the red team?
The enemy still appears as red. Please, Teapot, don't try to confuse me.
The Earth is red? I thought it was blue.
Okay, that sounded meaner than I meant. I'm sorry. I'm just musing.
No, I know exactly what you mean. I don't have to fight them, but the thing is, if the enemy has two bunker scrappers and actually places their pawns in two different points, at one point in my life, I'm obviously going to leave home and try and venture into these green lands ahead of me. And I'm going to end up on the bunker scrapper either way if they stand on two different nodes. That's a problem. Like, the fact that you can face a team that has so many different bunkers also makes it unfun. Like, if there was a lock on the amount of classes or amulets that can be stacked in a game, it would be better.
I
mean, if you face two bunker scrappers and a bunker chrono, at that point in your life, you kind of just want to like sit at home, organize a barbecue with the enemy team, and the only thing that's going to be rotating are the sausage on the stick above the fire. That's good.
Sounds good to me.
That analogy went over my head.
Wow, that is an interesting one. Well, okay, let me try and salvage this. I'm gonna once again attempt the salvage here. So, what I get from that, and I think this is a pretty common sentiment. It's certainly something that I would agree with as well. Is that the developers are a bit disconnected from the community, right? Okay, and you know, the accusation, do you even play your own game? I think that is one that does get leveled at ArenaNet a fair bit, and I think it might be a fair criticism as well. So I think what we definitely need is more communication, like an open avenue of communication, right, between the developers and the players, and certainly a more agile development cycle, right? Like, so what Sam is saying here about hot fixes, this is huge. This is such a big deal. Oh my goodness! I know that they are actually looking at Scrapper. Like Ben was in the chat and he said that they're looking at Bulwark Gyro in particular. But the thing is, like, when is it going to get patched? Right? Like, we don't know when it's going to get patched. It might, in fairness. It's not that they haven't actually done something like this before. They might actually make a little few balance changes in say, I don't know, like a random Tuesday gem store update. It might happen, but we have no idea when that will happen or if it will happen. Everyone is assuming right now that this is how it's going to be for 3 months right now, and you're just stuck with it. Have to enjoy it, boys. That's some good shit. And no, I think one of the key things that ArenaNet should actually work on and execute is communication with the player base, and try and get involved with the players and actually react to feedback, right? Like, don't look at the official forums. No one wants to look at that shit, okay? Don't even go there, right? But talk to the players who are actually playing the game, aren't going crazy, and aren't just completely toxic degenerates. That will be a good way of doing it, I think, because right now the rate at which the game changes and the agility of the development cycle is so poor that I think a lot of players, myself included, feel that the game is just the same. Like, it's just static and incredibly unchanging, which is extremely ironic, considering that the game is marketed based on a living world. Okay, you know, it's not exactly the best thing. But what do you guys think?
I wish to bring forward one thing. When we had the Scourge with Rune of the Sanctuary exploit, so to speak, that got fixed rather fast. Like, I remember it being fixed within a week, I think. Like, the devs have the capacity to do it, but it so seldom happens that you'd believe they don't. Like, they can do it. I expect them to do it. I think they need to do it. Like, it's part of the dev cycle of the game. Like, you put something in the game, you see how people use it. If they use it in a way that's completely broken, you change it.
I mean, could it be that right now they think there's nothing wrong with the scrapper?
I mean, like, looking at the amount of topics that have popped up on the official forums. And
Yeah,
Reddit,
but, you know, say they don't look at the official forums, they just look at their own stats, right?
I mean, yeah, they do have a new data analyst, so that's possible. Like, nah, I don't believe that their stats would show, like, even if there is one broken scrapper in every game, they're probably not looking at the correct stat. What would be interesting to see would be team composition x the length of a game, the duration of it, and the scores at the end. Because I've had, like, I wouldn't say most of my games, but quite a bit of my games facing or having bunker scrappers or bunker chronos are like taken almost to the limit. Like, the game I did today, we ended it at 0 on the timer, and I think my team had like 480 and the enemy team 300, because there were bunker scrappers on each side.
That's okay.
Like, the nodes were neutral for like half of the game.
Well, that's
Longer games aren't necessarily worse, though.
Long games can be super intense in a way. I think that's.
I mean,
longer being intense is not something that I doubt.
I don't think the stats are going to show like,
It is
okay.
correct.
I don't think the stats are going to show like, okay, so if you have a scrapper in a game, then the game is 5 minutes longer. I don't think they have that kind of statistics. But I think they're just looking at their stats and they're saying like, oh, okay, well, scrapper has negative win rate, whatever. Like,
no, it's not. I mean, they do have the stats. It's how you want to make your data speak. If they can see what games are played with what and what length the games have,
well, they can see
what
that,
scores
but
they end on. They need to make the data speak. That's what the data analyst does. That's a job. And I would expect the devs to be good at their jobs. Otherwise, they wouldn't work, you know.
Things like amount of reses would also show that with Scrapper, I think.
That's actually a good point. Thanks, Kate.
It depends on the game a lot. I don't know. It's just
they do have the statistics though. Like they have like.
Well, they have everything.
Like
but
win rate against itself as well, like scrapper versus scrapper.
Like, yeah, but they have things like, okay, say, you know, if there's a scrapper in a game, then the game lasts that amount longer. But like, it's not like they're gonna look at something like that first if they don't even know that scrapper is boring as fuck to play against. Like, they need to recognize that first to even search for the problem, right? Like, otherwise they're just gonna look at the base things.
Sorry, does ArenaNet require that their devs play a certain amount of hours in game in different?
No, they don't.
Oh, that would be a good start, right?
I don't believe that at any point you should make your employees do something specific that is linked to the company.
Force them to play the game.
I don't think that this is correct. Like, I mean, that's the reason why you have QA teams, so they can play the game and give you feedback. Why would the employees have, on top of designing the game, to have to play the game? And I think also a lot of devs working on the game would not want to play it, because if you know all the intricacy that goes into designing something, you might not want to actually play it.
Isn't that kind of a problem though? If you wanted to make it better, that would be an option.
I mean that's exactly why they have feedback from QA, feedback from players on the forums and stuff, and then like a dev could actually play the game to see if what people claim seems to be correct. They could always do that, but I wouldn't see a dev actively playing something they worked on.
I mean, they could just have somebody communicate to the community and watch people play, because that's really easy.
Yeah,
I mean, people already do that-ish, but like, it's not like they do it as a job, you know? Ben's in the chat just because, you know, he wants to be in the chat.
I don't think they necessarily have to first-hand experience like the problems with the game. I think they can. I think to a certain extent the community can be trusted to provide relatively useful feedback. I do think that Guild Wars 2 has a particularly rough community to try and develop for. It's a very wide and varied community, and so who do you listen to is the question, right? I think it is with regards to like who should the game be balanced around? Like, what is the goal? And I think these are the conversations that we need to have, like to kind of bring it back to this communication issue. The conversations that need to be had are with ArenaNet regarding what are their goals with regards to balance, right? Okay, like where do they want to go with this? Are they looking to balance stuff for a lower skill demographic, right? Because that would almost make sense, right? Because at the end of the day, there is an extremely low amount of well, I'll just say try-hard players, right? In Guild Wars 2, there's not a lot of people who like super try-hard the game. So surely it would make sense to in fact actually kind of in a way like balance the game around Gold League, which is where most players are. Like Gold League is the majority of players.
I mean, stats will show what the Gold League is like, but I mean, if you think about it this way, is a gold player gonna kill a scrapper if a good player can't? No, well, they're gonna have an even worse time. And they're not even going to realize that they should out-rotate it. They're not going to realize that.
It's going to be a gold scrapper, though, so they're going to be easier to kill.
Yeah, but as we already said before, it's not hard to play at all.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, like, I mean, a scrapper with gold level gameplay can probably stall, like...
Yeah, and that's the thing. Most scrappers in your games, Vallun, are probably gold.
Because I mean, he is correct. It's like Vallun. Okay, time to expose. Vallun is ranked worse than I am, even though I lose every time I'm against him. No. I needed to point that out. I might lose every time I'm against you, but I'm still ranked higher.
But that has to do with population issues and
it does. It does. Yeah. But I'm just saying that your scrappers are gold scrappers.
Definitely true.
You know, there you go. Right? Then you can see their skill level firsthand.
Yeah, Vallun is the renegade, actually, guys. Okay, yeah, the renegade master. I actually, that's a good song. I just tuned into like Vallun's stream and I hear him like just going crazy. Like it's like he was getting like hard focused in some game by some he's like roasting and going psycho on them. Then he pluses into someone and boom, like he starts BMing him hard. Like, whoa, what the fuck? What happened? What? I don't think he was. I don't think it went that far. But man, it was intense. I was like, wow, I've made a good decision to come into this stream, actually. This is good. And he was going crazy, like auto-attacking him with Shiro, and it looked pretty gnarly, man, as he just wrecked him.
It's a pretty easy build to play, to be honest. You just like press 1, and then you use like your Shiro Impossible Odds, swap, and you use Soul Cleave Summit, press
easy DPS.
Wait, Reneg, what?
Yeah.
What do you mean? Yeah. Okay, that's fine.
No, excuse me, Frosty. You want a 1v1?
He's having an aneurysm. Let him die peacefully.
Scrapper is one of those really interesting cases, though, right? Isn't it? Because its power, it looks stronger than it actually is, right? Because people don't really know what to do against it. Right, it's a bit like it's like Sword Weaver on steroids. Is kind of what it is, right? It looks really, really strong, particularly in lower league gameplay, because people don't understand that you're not supposed to to try. You don't play into it, right? You don't let them get what they want by just AFKing, like installing you forever, like 1v2ing you, like 1vxing you.
It is
on a node,
so
right?
strong though. Like it is stronger than something like Weaver because it actually is useful outside of the 1v1. And the reason people on the higher levels also get annoyed is because, you know, say your team can't win a team fight. So, you know, what you got to do is you got to push sides. You know, you can't just like look at a game and say, okay, well, I'll just not play into the scrapper at all. Like that's going to win me the game. A lot of the times that's just not the case, right? So you have to rotate into the scrapper. And, well, just killing it, unless you're maybe like a warrior with a pretty squishy build, it's going to be hard to kill it really fast.
I think people will get better at fighting Scrapper as the season goes on. Like, it's by no means fun, but it is an adjustment. I am happy that the meta changed, even if it did involve Scrapper coming into it.
I mean, the thing is, at some point, people will figure out exactly what's good against a scrapper, and they're going to have more characters on their account they can swap to in order to counter the scrappers on the enemy team. But do you actually want to have that kind of team building? Like, what I've enjoyed in Guild 2 so far is that I can play, let's say, a single class, maybe on two or three different builds, but play a single class in PvP, and I can win my games and move upwards in the ratings simply by becoming better and winning my 1v1s. If I actually have to look at the enemy comp, see, okay, they have one bunker scrapper and they have one bunker chrono, and they also have a firebrand, and then have to like swap against that and ask my team to swap against that, then it's just bringing the counter to something that originally countered you. That's unfun, in my opinion. What should be fun is being able to play something you enjoy, that you are getting good on, and actually can make it win against someone else purely based on the skill like meta,
I
not
kind of
simply on a
agree with
counter
that.
matter.
Yeah, I feel like while you should be able to swap to like be able to like, oh, my team has two thieves. Like this is while being able to play two thieves is probably better. There are still like it's not perfect, right? So I think you should still be able to like swap, but not like need to swap. Like you should be able to play any meta build and it'd be fine in most situations. But in like bunker metas, it just feels like you're kind of useless a lot of the time. Like when you're playing
Yeah.
like a non very like hyper role intensive like DPS or hyper role intensive support, right? And like it just that's kind of like what bunker metas do. And that's why it feels
Yeah.
so bad.
I don't know if you
That's where
recall
Duo Q saves it.
season 2. Oh, sorry, Kate, go on.
Oh no, I was just saying that I think that Duo Q is what has saved PvP recently from this map. But yeah, continue.
I was gonna ask Vallun and Frosty because I don't know you that well, Kate. So I don't know how long you've been around, but do you remember season 2 when HUT released when we had the seasons, the Bunker Chrono domination on the entirety of the meta? Like the team that didn't have a Bunker Chrono would lose. Do you remember that? When the wells were still stupidly broken and you could literally put gravity, watch the entirety of the enemy team get dunked on. Because of that.
I barely played ranked at that time because I was busy, like actually playing, scrims and shit.
Okay,
I don't
fair enough. Like Valen, do you recall?
Yeah, I do remember, but wasn't it just like half the players were playing Chrono anyway, so each team had bunker Chrono?
Yeah, but that's also wrong
Yeah.
in a sense. Like, if
yeah.
you're in a situation like that, it's not fun either. If
Right,
like
right.
both team have the
I
bunker,
wasn't sure what
it
your
doesn't
point
make
was.
it better. It's just what I mean is whenever you are in a situation where you have one specific spec or one specific build that can render anything you throw against it either weak or useless, then something is wrong.
Yeah, I actually remember though in the scrims etc. that we played, it was a bit AIDS because you had those two things, and obviously like everybody had to play this one comp, and it was it 2 Condi Revs, 2 Bunker Chronos, and something else. I don't remember
Yeah.
what it was
Ellie or
exactly,
Druid.
but they had to play that, right? And the issue was that you could stack every boon in the game for over a minute right at the start of the game before you even leave the gate, and the only way to counterplay that was to play the Condi Rev, and you would spam banish enchantment on the enemy revenant, and the one that loses resistance first dies, right? that was the counterplay in that game.
That's so true.
That was every game, by the way. Like in high level games, you would try to remove the resistance, and if you could, you won, and that was it. Like there was no like, okay, he removes resistance for a bit, it's fine. No, they instantly die. It's not fine.
I have a question. It's unrelated to this. So when we finish this topic, I'd like to bring it up. Just an idea of skill
I
stuff.
mean, we can swap the topics as well. Just go on.
I was thinking about this yesterday, but in Guild Wars 1, those of you who played it will remember that when people were casting a skill or executing a skill, you could see what they were casting above their health bar, right? You didn't have to rely on animations.
Yep.
I was wondering what you guys think about bringing that into Guild Wars 2, how you think that would affect gameplay, etc.
I think that would actually not work in Guild Wars 2 because a lot of the skills have either very short cast or instant casts. If your casting time is going to be a fourth of a second or half a second of a second, it would just be unnecessary clutter on an already sort of cluttered screen.
I suppose
Like
I
you already
just
have so
potential
many
for
effects. It's just
counter.
like I don't think.
I think
it
the
would be
death
very good.
recap just needs to be more accurate, you know? Like tell someone like what actually killed them. It's very like weird right now. I think
Yeah,
they
that's a
haven't
good
changed
point,
it
though.
in a while.
Reworking animations would help.
Yeah, that is true.
Mm.
But I tend to agree with Sam here. Like a lot of the abilities are very, very fast, or just instant cast. Right, a lot of the damage you have is almost like generic. This would be particularly odd with conditions, right? Because like, oh yeah, you just get wrecked by conditions. Like, well, you don't get wrecked by anything in particular. It's just these buffs that get debuffs that get applied to you, right? And you do have the recap exactly. Although it would be interesting actually. Right? So you could almost like react to the bar to try and interrupt it or to try and dodge it, I guess. But I don't know. I think that to be honest, I think the game does a pretty good job of showing you what you're supposed to dodge. I mean, if you miss some of this stuff, it's I don't know. You kind of have it coming, in my opinion.
Yeah. On a similar point though to what Kate is saying, and one thing I would actually want to see changed is maybe the way buffs and boons are shown onto people. 'Cause for example, if you're in the middle of a team fight, unless you have a person targeted, you're not going to know how much of a threat they are regarding to the boons they currently have. Like if I'm in a team fight and suddenly there is a sword weaver who decides he's going to join the team fight even though he shouldn't, and he actually has like 25 stacks of might and is quite far into his weave self, I might just get CC'd by the weave self and then get a casual fire 2 in my face that's going to actually hurt because he has 25 stacks of might. Maybe having better visuals on how buffed or how far into a specific
Or just like
is
animations
would
of
help out.
skills.
Or
Period.
yeah. Because like I mean, if someone has a shit ton of might, you don't exactly see it.
Because like
it hits you.
that the weave self is what's gonna kill you, right? Like that's kind of like it does have an animation to it, but it's sort of by the time you see
passives
it's
are
quite
hard
hard
to
to see.
figure out.
It's just I mean I can see it on his bar if I have him targeted. Like that's what I'm gonna do. 1v1. I'm gonna look at him and see what he's doing. But if it's in the middle of a team fight, I'm just gonna be like, okay, good shit, it happened. And
I
then
do
the
think
fact
it
that
would
he
make
has
it.
might makes him even more of a go on.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just sorry. It's like 4 a.m. Wouldn't it make it easier for new players, more accessible in PvP, if you could see what other people were doing as an option at least? See where the cooldowns are, see where people are in their chain.
Yeah, I
cooldowns, skill cooldowns.
Well, she's saying that if you were able to see what they were casting, you'd be able to keep track of what they've already used, right? If that makes any sense. So if you can keep track of what your opponent's done, then you kind of know what they have within their arsenal. I mean, that if that was the case, then surely that player kind of needs to know what to look out for in a way. Like if you're a new player, you kind of really won't know what the hell's going on. But no, I think it would be an interesting idea. Would it help? It's difficult to say. I think this is where you run into issues with the complexity of the combat system. It seems to kind of backfire on itself here because there's a lot of depth and complexity here. It's not always obvious what the real threat is here. Like what is the actual thing you need to watch out for?
When like at the bottom right of the screen, like there's this scrolling kind of like thing where it shows like people's deaths and it shows like the ability that killed them. I feel like that's such a useless thing. Like it'll say like someone died to like I don't know short bow auto attack or like some random thing. I feel like that doesn't really help at all. Maybe they could like repurpose that into like somehow like showing you what's hit you, because I think they did that in Guild Wars 1 late on, like where they showed you how many instances of each skill hit you or something like that.
Well,
match replays would be nice.
Yeah, I mean, updates to that system, like with replays or with a good spectator system, would be.
None of this will make PvP fun, though.
It would be pretty amazing, but how much effort must be put in order to get that in the game?
What do you think would make PvP fun, Frosty? Let's go to that. We have got to be off topic.
For me, I don't know. But for other people, certainly better balance would help. But these things would make it better, but they wouldn't remove any problems. And the problems are like, you're not gonna be able to overweigh the problems with just more positives. That's just not gonna work. It's gonna take so much longer as well to implement those positives. It's just, I don't know. I mean, it's cool to think about, but it's not gonna happen.
Putting a cast time on overcharge shot would make PvP fun for me.
Yeah.
Or just making overcharge shot not 12k range. That could also be pretty fun.
12k.
You know? Yeah, that could be interesting.
Well, no, I think that's a valid point. You know, I think ArenaNet does have a tendency to, instead of going back and fixing issues that have been created by something else, they'll try and band-aid it, right? So, oh, look.
They'll create more issues.
Well, yeah, exactly. Like, look, I think this is a great example. It's like, oh, man, all these PO aspects are so fucking good, dude. Like, what are we going to do? Let's, like, hard buff Herald and hard buffed Scrapper, right? Nice. You know, like...
What about the fucking DH range buff?
Yeah.
All right, that was even worse. All right?
I think that was actually a good buff, but
no, it's not. It's not.
Wait, what?
Okay, it's a buff. Sure, that's nice. It's a buff to DH. That's okay. But who the fuck is gonna think that's fun to play against? 1.5k range true shot.
It's actually less fun.
If it actually becomes viable, do you think it's gonna be fun to play against Vallun? Just answer that question.
It's shorter range than the auto attack, so I don't think it's that bad. Because the auto attack travels further, but the true shot is kind of like a rifle or a pistol where it just stops at the intended range.
So 1.5k would be fun to play against, is what you're saying.
Well, right? It would be just, would you rather get auto down or would you rather get true shot down? They're both not fun.
Auto down,
but it's
is
more
fun.
But it is more fun to play as true shot when it doesn't do absolutely nothing.
Well, it still does nothing. It just travels 1.5k range.
Right, but at least
if they buff it, yeah, have fun with that, buddy.
You're so jaded.
Frosty actually hates Dragon Hunters. This is why.
So jaded.
Okay, no, just make Ranger 2k range longbow.
Oh,
because why not?
Yes.
Right? Why not?
Yes.
That's gonna make it more fun to play, right?
Yes.
Hell yeah, brother.
Dude, I am with you on this. Let me call my.
I mean, Longbow Ranger is not viable, right? So it's fine. Let's just do that. Let's do that. That's good, isn't it?
Dude, seek him, merge for unblockable, 2k range.
I mean, it's already like 1.4k because it's bugged, right? So it's okay. Just add a little bit more.
Don't tell them. You're not aware.
Sorry. Right. It's not viable. Sorry.
Thanks. Yeah. Good guy.
Wow.
Wait, you tested this?
I tested it like 3 years ago.
You played DH?
Dude, no, 3 years ago, I tested Ranger. Not DH.
Dude, don't, like, just so you know, they actually made some changes to this, because originally it was 1756. And then they actually fixed it a bit. Now it's 1.4. Come on, they made something happen. It's not too bad. I can live with 1.4.
Okay. Wait, you're saying that long bows are longer range than their tooltip says? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
That's because that's how bows work. They're projectiles.
Yeah. That's a consequence of the actual the fact that it's actually a projectile, right? In Guild Wars 2, it's kind of a cool thing, right?
It's an arcing projectile. Sorry.
Yeah. So I think that but wait, what? Why is like the Dragon Hunter thing an issue?
It's because Frosty played
he hates
Chronomancer and HOT. And he got triggered.
Yeah, he just hates DH.
No. That is entirely not the issue, and you would know it if DH actually becomes meta. Like, if DH becomes meta, you'll be sorry. I'm just saying.
You've been triggered for 2 years?
No. Okay. That's fine.
He once got his butt hurt, and ever since then, the scar on his ass reminds him of the pain he felt that day.
You can also buff Ranger Longbow and see what happens. You know, that's just what I'm saying. Just buff Longbow to 2k range. You know?
Well,
okay.
but okay.
No auto attack.
No, once again, we can get out our salvage our salvage tool, guys. Okay, that black line salvage kit, and we can look at this and observe the situation. Again, it is that problem. Oh, instead of looking. Yeah, I'm Teapot Salvage-O-Matic, boys. It's fixing the issues with the game. They try and fix the issues by basically like adding more positives, right? I've never thought about it that way, but it is a lot like that. So they kind of say, "Oh, guys, forget about that. Look, we buff DH range, we buff scrap, we buff tempers. Like, forget about the fact that like Rev has a 73% win rate against a non-Rev team. Like, that's okay. Like, ignore that. We're gonna bump up the win rate by buffing other things. I think that is in my humble opinion, that is a fundamentally terrible approach to balancing the game or rectifying issues with the game, because it just makes it even worse. Right? You just keep adding additional problems to the game when you're trying to fix them. I think to a certain extent, you have to go back and actually address this stuff instead of just leaving it to fester and trying to kind of band-aid it by adding on other things. Right? Like, oh yeah, here's the scrapper band-aid. Okay, that's on there now. Okay.
Yeah, when in doubt.
Yeah.
The tower is crumbling. Just keep adding stuff on top.
Exactly. Just keep making it taller. Just keep building it up. Right.
Just add more range.
Well, yeah. Just add more range. Just add
like
a few more breaks.
Shot that one was retarded as well. Like, here's the thing, right? Okay, so the tree shot thing won't even affect me because I'm not playing the game, right? And the overcharge shot is also retarded. Like, is there anybody that actually thinks that the overcharge shot is fine in the chat? Anyone?
I'm just gonna say I do because it's gonna piss you off.
Nice.
Yes, I do.
Oh, devil's advocate. I like it.
Okay.
Someone's gotta shut him down.
Nice.
Sitting alone in a dark room in Finland complaining about a game mode.
Ooh, that is. Oh, I like this. This is fire. Okay, this is now fire, actually. Frosty, what do you have to say about that? How do you feel about that?
I mean, I only joined because you asked me.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay, now I feel. We love you, Frosty. You're just really jaded.
I like
just
him
really jaded. More than one of those jade dragons.
Yep. No, and I think, to be honest, guys, I think well, is anyone here not jaded? The cat? Okay, that's good. But I think that's just everyone. But no, I mean that's a legitimate thing, though. I mean, there's a lot of people who do feel jaded, and especially that the more veteran players do feel like they are ignored, right? They do feel that the voice does not matter. Like we are being disregarded, unfortunately. And yeah, it's
dude.
it's
I don't even think it's like veteran players feeling that they're not being heard. I just think that in general, it's players not being heard. Like, when was the last time players genuinely asked for something that was doable and it happened? Because like you can see casuals asking for specific stuff, like they would like more cosmetics at better prices, or they would like stuff to actually be available in the game. Then you have veteran players being like, hey, we would actually like to have more stuff in the game and for it to be more enticing to play. And at the end of the day, nothing happens that is not already on the table. That's it. Like, I mean, they have their own agenda of what's going to happen and their own development ideas. And whatever you ask them to do is not going to happen just because it's not on the list. Or if it can be added to the list because it can be like stuck to something else, sure. If it's not part of the idea, it's not going to happen.
Well, and I think, well, to kind of add on to that, I think a problem that ArenaNet has is that they can only make... I'm pretty convinced that they can only make so many changes at any given time, if that makes any sense, right? Whenever I look at a balance patch for Guild Wars 2, I kind of think like, where's the rest, right? And then you'll see something down the line that would have made sense in the previous patch, right? Like they seem to say, okay, we are allowed 100 changes this patch. Okay, we better make the most of them, right? And it feels very incomplete to a certain extent. So I think one thing that will be really good for Arena is, in my opinion, especially with PvP and World vs. World, is just let loose, right? Just let loose. Like, I genuinely pity, okay, people who try and play World versus World right now. Like, their game mode is so neglected. It's not just like an orphaned child that has been left alone in the rain, okay? Like, I'm sorry, guys. Like, the child has been taken away, like picked up by the vultures, and it's gone, guys. It's gone, right?
At least they kind of listen to PvP players, because I mean, even though they don't do changes fast, they change the game, you know, in several 3 months, right? But World of World, I mean, has it gotten a single positive change that isn't just due to a change in another game mode since PF launch?
Well, pretty much. Well, the Winds of Disenchantment one was directly targeted at World vs. World, and I think some of the Scourge stuff some of the Scourge balance was probably addressed at it.
Or was that asked for?
Okay, so they did a good job, but then they added Lingering Curse, which just absolutely was horrible. Okay,
but that was way before. Oh.
Yeah, well, to be fair, there aren't that many updates just in general, so. There's only so much they can do, right?
Roadmap would be nice.
Yeah. Roadmap would be nice. And to a certain extent, like I actually think that ArenaNet is like borderline trolling the World vs. World community. They want the veterans to quit because they actively added something that they hated, right? Okay, like everyone in World vs. World, most of the players in World vs. World did on their list of things they would like. Okay, it was not a mount, right? Okay, and then they got what they didn't want. They did. To be fair, they did listen to the players. They nerfed Into the Ground, even though, in my opinion, like people were actually like really crybabying about that. I didn't even think it was that good, ever really. People were reacting to like bugged footage, claiming it was broken. It's like, yikes! But yeah, people really wanted to hate it, so I kind of think, in a way, that ArenaNet might have been right not to listen to these people. But still, right? Yeah, I don't know. Like it's a real shame about the whole World versus World thing, and the balance has just been. They just never make any real changes targeted at that game, right? To completely ignore it the entire time just seems ridiculous. Like to just take an entire game mode and ignore it is pretty ridiculous to me. To be frank, the balance of the game is amusing, because the order of target, the target order for their balance, it seems to be like, for some bizarre reason, raids is like the top priority, even though it's been in a good spot for ages, right? But still they keep fucking with that just because memes, right? And then like way down, then it's PvP, and then fine, then like, you know, like in the depths of the Earth's core is World versus World. Like we try not to talk about that, you know. It's really sad thing, and communication would be the best thing here. Like, what is the goal? Like, are they aware of the issues in World versus World? I mean, the big question is, right? Is ArenaNet okay with the fact that, like, you know, if you go into World versus World squad, it's going to be like 50% Firebrands and 50% Scourges? I mean, is that okay, right? Like, what? This is where it comes back to the communication with regards to the goals of the company, right? Like, what do they want for the balance of the game? Like, what do they want World vs. World to look like? Because what if ArenaNet don't like the idea of all these big Zerg fights, right? What if they've put like Scourge in the game to make it unfun? No, seriously, like, to make not exactly to make it unfun, but to discourage people from engaging in that sort of thing. Like this stuff scales really hard.
You're ruining my game
mode. Stuff like Scourge really scales hard in that sort of situation. So what if ArenaNet actually want to see more skirmishing type of gameplay? What do they have planned for the game? Like the lack of connection between the players and the developers, I think, is really disconcerting. I certainly find it that way as well. It's just like, what do they want, right? Do the desires of the developers line up with that of the community? Right? Trying to understand any decisions. Well, it's their decisions, right? But I kind of want to see the big picture, right? I feel like we're all missing out on some insanely master plan, you know? Yeah.
There's no way they would like think they can change that, right? Because, you know, whenever they do their streams, they just blob as well, you know? It's not like they try to push a different strategy outside of what people already use. I don't know. I don't think ArenaNet has a big brain, all right?
Well, you never know. I don't think I don't think they're incompetent. I think they know what they're doing. It's just I really wish I wish I knew their master plan, Frosty. Okay, I wish I knew those 150 IQ moves. Right? Come on.
Yeah.
Well, why not a roadmap? How hard is that for them to do?
Are those 150 IQ moves worth sacrificing the game mode?
No.
Yes.
And well, you know, Kate makes an excellent point. Okay, how hard can it be? Okay, and the answer is borderline impossible. Apparently.
Yeah, it is borderline impossible for one reason. Just actually think about it. If they make a roadmap, they'll have to say what they're working on and what they plan to add in the game. So that's the first.
They actually have to commit to something.
Holy shit!
That's a problem. That's a problem. They'll have to commit to it. And we've seen so far that even if they actually announce that there's going to be a specific release, they might not be able to ship it within the time frame that was originally planned. And as a result, you've got the community rioting on the forums and on Reddit, and that's something that they do not want. So if they give us a roadmap and if they give us like timestamps at which we could, I'm saying could, expect some stuff, people will hold them accountable to it, and they don't want that. So they won't do it. They won't do it.
But let's talk about that, okay?
Look, roll your balls back. That was too high for your voice.
Yeah. Now let's talk about this shit, Sam. Okay. Now, in this instance, Arena needs to grow a goddamn spine then. Seriously. If they are not able to say, oh shit, you know, we developed this project and guys, it sucked, right? We tried it and it sucked. If they can't own up and say, you know what guys, we made a mistake, okay? Shit happens. Then I'm sorry, they need to grow a goddamn spine. Seriously. You know, if they make a change and the change sucks, right? It's not a bad thing to say, "Oh yeah, sorry guys, yeah, we're gonna have to pull it. We're gonna have to, you know, pull this back, right?" You know, that obviously didn't work out, right? There's nothing wrong with that, not in my opinion, anyway. Like, am I crazy? Am I out of my mind here? There's no big deal in admitting something that went wrong, just didn't work out. And I think this is Arena is catastrophically bad at doing this. It's understanding when something has gone wrong and going, you know what, we need to go back, we need to fix this, we need to recognize that we've made an error, admit that we've made an error, and not be afraid of making errors, okay? Fortune favors the bold, ladies and gentlemen, okay? And unfortunately, Arena is not bold.
No, fortune favors the bold when you actually can afford to be bold. That's the thing. We are looking at a company that recently was under fire and some people got like laid off because of financial reasons. If you have a company that already had some problem. Yeah, that wasn't ArenaNet's problem, but it's a money problem, like a money sort of issue that stems from higher up. What I'm saying is that the company that had a PR issue, pretty major one last year, and then has trouble shipping some of their stuff, and then has a massive layoff, will not necessarily want to become bold out of nowhere. Like, if anything, that would be the time they definitely wouldn't get bold. Because if they go right now onto, okay, this is what we've got planned, and this is when we plan to have it shipped, and fail at this, that's the final nail in the coffin. Nobody in their right mind would do it now.
To be honest,
nobody.
You know, Sam, I see that you have a big brain, okay? I know you do. But
dude, please stop saying that my forehead is only big because of my recent hairline.
It's not the forehead.
Oh, fuck you! Fuck you!
No. But no, I actually think this is the exact time. I think Arena is in an interesting spot right now. They can either like stagnate and not make any changes and watch as the community slowly bleeds out. I'm just gonna say something right now, guys. Okay, I'm just gonna expose the entire raid scene. The raid scene is fucking dead, guys, okay? It is dead. And honestly, if it is Sink or Swim, see, Nushmag, I love this name and I love this guy. He knows exactly what the fuck is going on. If they don't do something now, they are fucked, okay? I'm sorry, like they need radical change now. Like carrying on as we are now is just going to be depressing. It's going to be, it's honestly, it's like watching a dog pull itself forwards and like its back leg's like broken or it's paralyzed. Like, it's horrible. It's not, I don't like looking at it. It makes me uncomfortable to deal with this situation, okay? I don't like it. It's sad. It's like a pigeon with one leg. That's Guild Wars 2, dude. That is Guild Wars 2 right there.
Couldn't the pigeon still fly?
It can still, yeah, that's the thing though. It can still fly. Exactly, Kate. Exactly.
Way over my...
Yeah. See, it can. Yeah, see, that was Omega Brain. I like that. Okay.
How about just new PR? Their PR, do they have a PR department?
Like that is actually the case. They have someone on Twitter bearing the tag head of PR. Like, I actually decided to start following every single dev I see on Twitter, so I can like put a name on the roles and have my own little list. So they do have someone on that role. I can confirm it. I believe it's Justin, if I'm not mistaken.
Justin, get your shit together. No, like they have so much potential. It's really sad. It is like watching a bird with one leg trying not to fly. Like all they have to do is.
What should they do? Just fly forward?
Oh. Yeah, just fly.
Yeah,
forward.
just look. I mean, okay. Now let's have this. Let's have some real talk here. Okay. Now, Guild Wars 2. Let's talk about it as an MMO in very broad terms. Okay. Let's look at its competitors. ESO, Final Fantasy. Okay. World of Warcraft, BDO. I'm sure I probably missed something. Who cares, right? Now, Guild Wars 2.
Less online.
Yeah, okay, RuneScape. Okay, now let's look at this, guys. Okay, so WoW has a horrifically outdated combat system, has content, is very good at advertising. That's Blizzard's fucking main shit. Okay, so that's WoW. Let's talk about BDO. Pay to win cancer. Good combat system though. Okay, Guild Wars 2. Extremely fair. Basically the best business model out of the MMOs. Okay, very fair for the consumer. Maybe not for ArenaNet, but it is for the consumer. They've got the best combat system. Okay, the best business model. Okay, actually good content when they release it, but the worst, like horrific advertising ever. Like no one knows about this game. Like they just refuse to go on the rooftop and shout about how good their game is, right? They're like, our game is trash, right? Okay, it feels bad, man. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me, right? Like Final Fantasy, okay? It's a weeb game, okay? The combat system, no, okay? Just no, okay? I don't want to see that shit. Like 2.5 second global cooldown. Oh my god, what the fuck? No. Okay?
You live in the past. The global cooldown can hardly be felt once you have leveled your character beyond the tutorial.
Into the level of Catboy, into the new.
Oh, stop shaming me, woman! You don't do this.
Now in Guild Wars 2, you can come back.
I'm pretty sure you'd play a cat girl. Like, come
no,
on.
I wouldn't actually. I have a cat, and I'm a girl, but I don't.
I mean,
a cat.
There's also an issue. Though. I mean, you said Guild Wars 2 has good content when they put it out, but the amount of content that they put out, like, I don't know, dude. How are you gonna market that?
Well, no, and I think that's another problem with the game. I think that their overall focus and the direction they're taking it is not good. It has gone far too far. I mean, this is like the 500th time we're saying this, right? Is just that the focus on fire and forget, just play it through once and then never come back. Like only farm them, only like grind out the map if it's worth gold, right? Like one time through 2 hours of content every 3 months. That is not a good model. I don't understand why they keep doing it, really. And every single map is just the same as well. Like it's like generic. I don't know. No. This is not PMA. This is not PMA anymore, guys. Like we need to stop this.
Yeah, okay, maybe the content isn't good either. That's true. Yeah, maybe the world content isn't good.
I'm shutting the stream. I'm shutting the stream.
Bring us back into what we were saying at the start. Make the current content better with feature.
Yeah. And start doing things like dungeons. That's what people who want to play an MMO like to hear. The word dungeons is synonymous with MMO, especially for the people who have money to spend on extra stuff. I just do think the branding like that would be enough to get people interested.
The thing
or making new dungeons.
When it comes to the content, it actually quite well fits with the kind of people Guild Wars 2, ArenaNet is aiming at. That's the thing. Like, we're all discussing from the perspective of people who play the game nearly every day. But not too long ago, I had the opportunity to meet some of my viewers when they were visiting my country, and we sat and had dinner, and they just told me how they play Guild Wars 2. At that point, I was playing every day, logging on all of my 20 alt accounts so I could harvest them, playing 10 plus PvP games a day, doing my raids every week on multiple accounts. And then they just came and they told me, yeah, we actually enjoy being enjoying real life of the games, etc. And when they put content out, we can just put up the game, get the latest patch, see what has happened while we weren't there, and then we feel like we have stuff to do, and we can buy some keys to open the latest Black Lion chest, and we can play the latest Living Story. And I was like, actually, yeah, like these people, they just do other stuff. Then they use some of their real life money to buy stuff the moment something new happens to re-kickstart their position in the game. They actually enjoy it that way. And it's completely fine for them. And then I realized, okay, if most of the people play like this, then everything is fine under the sun. And ArenaNet is doing exactly what they aim to do. I think like we're all outside of ArenaNet's loop, and we think ArenaNet is outside of our loop. That's exactly where we are.
But yeah, I actually agree with you, and everything you said there is true. I want to make that very clear to the chat. Everything Sam just said is no, it's not apologism. No, that's actually no. If you get that from that is a very shallow and non-nuanced way of looking at what Sam just said. He's absolutely right. Okay, on paper everything is fine. Okay, but the thing is, it seems that what is being targeted here is basically, it's not even mass appeal, to be honest. It's mass appeal and making money, okay? And it's not about making an actually quality product. I think they have sacrificed the quality of the game in order to cater to the lowest common denominator to a certain extent, right? I know it sounds a bit harsh to say, but it's true, okay? And on top of that, it's just that it doesn't make any sense to me, okay, that ArenaNet have just say, you know what, we make this super complicated game with great combat, the best combat system out of any MMO,
it's
guys,
different people,
on the market, right? And when it comes to the actual competitors, guys, Guild Wars 2 has no competition. It even now, if the game released now in its current state, like it's brand new game, guys, Guild Wars 2, wow, it would still be ahead of its time now. Okay, right? And the fact that they use it in this just lame ass way, right? And just and use it just for this boring, like generic, like face roll shit when they have all these amazing, complicated and well-made systems. It is just depressing. That they use it for something like this. Like, they could be the MMO, right? They could be like the defining MMO of our time, and yet they choose not to be, in my opinion. They actively choose not to be that headline game. Like, wow, look at this. World versus world. Like, look how well Guild Wars 2 does realm versus realm. Look how well it does structured PvP. Okay, look how well it does raids, right? They choose to make it just this banal, samey, generic content, right? It's not a living world anymore. It's utterly static. There's no dynamic events. They're dynamic. The only way in which they're dynamic is that they're not always active, right? That's basically the extent of it, right? It's, I don't know. They have the ability to do this, but they choose not to. Like, why did they choose to make a TV show instead of an MMO? Okay, unbelievable. And yeah, and honestly, for the marketing, okay, I'm not gonna like it, guys. Okay, Ham could be a better marketer, okay, for this game than the goddamn ArenaNet team. And that's not, I'm not roasting the cat there,
TMA,
okay?
by the way.
I'm not roasting the cat. That's real, dude. I am 100% sure that Ham could nail this down, okay, right? But and ArenaNet just don't do anything, okay? They don't do anything. And it feels bad.
I'll pitch it to Ben.
Yeah.
He would wear a Quaggan hat. No joke, no joke.
Well,
put out roadmaps.
Dude, people on the internet like cats. People in Guild Wars 2 like cats. You can collect cats in your home instance. Boom. Easy. See? Simple stuff.
I'm pretty sure Ham could handle a roadmap. He can walk forwards and he can look back.
Can kind of poke at stuff with a paw as well.
Don't you think it's just because of the new developers that the direction has changed, though?
Well, you think it's more of an Activision situation? Like Activision buys them?
Yeah, but it happened ages ago.
You honestly, this is what I now fear. Actually, well, I've been, again, we are to a certain extent rehashing a little bit here. We've talked about this a while, but I genuinely fear that the developers see our opinion, see our complaints. They just say, we disagree, buddy. Okay, and they just say, yeah, fuck you.
They could really
we don't
offer
care.
some focus groups.
Well, I mean, I don't know. It's like you can see that they've changed everything since HOT. Like, if you compare HOT and HOT content to POF and POF content, sure. I mean, I don't know. I don't remember like at what pace they still develop. Like, their balancing etc. was still horrible, but the direction of the game was completely different. Completely different.
Yeah, it's true. It is true.
And I don't think it's gonna get any better. I think it's just gonna get worse. So just don't play the game.
Well, this is where Sam was 100% right, and I know the chat's like, "Oh, don't say he's right, don't say he's right." But okay, I'm gonna the analogy here, okay, is that we're on an aircraft. Okay, it's the Guild Wars 2. Right? Okay. Guild Wars 2 ArenaNet Air.
Just jump off.
No, don't jump off. No. What the fuck, Frosty?
You know, you could have a parachute or two there, maybe. You know,
no.
they might not have many. Yeah,
there's
yeah. Well,
5.
maybe there's two because it's ArenaNet Airlines. All right. Yeah. I'm sorry, but it's needed.
No,
right? Not
guys.
I'll share with
No,
you
we're
guys.
not. We're not doing jokes, guys. Okay. Yeah, ArenaNet, nice. Okay, and what we're doing, right, is we're saying, oh. My goodness, you know, the plane is going down. The plane is going down. It's crashing, guys. Oh no, right? But in the cockpit, right, ArenaNet are looking at all their instruments, right, and everything's fine. Now, you know, the plane is not crashing. Both the engines are working. It's all looking good. There are no birds. The birds haven't hit into us, okay, or anything like that.
Still jump off.
Altitude is good, okay. Altitude is good. Feels good, man. Right. So if you look at the analytics that ArenaNet have and what they're targeting, they probably, you know, don't really see any problem.
We're
they don't
in a
see any
separate plane,
issues.
dude.
Yeah, well,
We're in plane number
We're
2.
we're not in a separate plane. The thing is, we're like the passengers that have already watched all the movies that were available on the TVs of the plane, and we've been in the plane for like 100 hours when we expected the flight to last only 10. So we're completely out of things to do. The batteries on all of our phones have died, and we actually finished Harry Potter books for the 7th time in a row. We have nothing left to read except maybe what's written on the cover of the books that we haven't read. And then you've got all the people who are like on the flight and have slept some of the time, and they've woken up and they've watched another movie, and then they paused it and then went back to sleep. And that's the casual ones, okay? And we're the hardcore ones that have finished everything we could
commercial
do on the
idea?
plane. No, obviously not. But like that's like, if we take the plane analogy, we're just the people who have nothing left to do in the plane, just looking outside the window and thinking, I wish we would hit the ground already.
Yeah, but you admitted it yourself. You hopped out of the plane recently.
Well, you know.
No, I didn't hop
ArenaNet
out of
would
it.
also
I
be
still
telling-
log in once a week. Please. I'm
Babe,
still
you
active.
join us on the plane doing nothing once a week. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure we're on
No,
I
I
mean-
joined once a week to get farmed by
one
Vallun.
plane.
That's my comment.
Hey, I probably would have farmed you too. It's fine. What were you playing?
No, you didn't, woman. You don't farm me. We
I
didn't play
would have. I would have.
The thing
You're
is, though,
really
ArenaNet also
dead,
won't
like-
tell you, like, you're never landing, okay? ArenaNet is saying, alright, yeah, we might land next week, maybe. Maybe. You know, that parachute is going to start looking good. It is.
Yeah.
It's going to start looking real good.
Yep.
Right?
I'm gonna take it before you.
Well, no,
Yeah.
no, well, I mean, if we're gonna really go down this analogy, then I mean, yeah, like even I am reaching for the goddamn parachute at this point, dude. It's like, dude, like, I'm sorry, like I've said, like, you know, Captain, you know, quick, do something, but no, it's you know, it's not happening, unfortunately.
I have a question. What about Underworld?
What would you?
Why not bring Underworld back?
It is kind of, it's in raid.
Right, but outside of raids, why not just make it its own?
The chat is also
Bingo.
saying we don't know the destination either.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, it's. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, but for what purpose? With regards to the underworld.
Oh, it was more for the
Challenging
announcement.
content.
Kind of a content idea at the same time.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I know. I think that would be fun, dude. Look, even Deroya is salty. Like, I didn't even know this was possible. Look at Deroya going crazy, dude. I'm just exposing Deroya here. Like
That's probably someone else on his account.
Seriously, guys,
I want never sold.
I want this screenshotted Insta and hard posted to Reddit. Like, expose this man. Okay, like, he's in the game, guys. Like, Deroya's in the game, and look at him just go crazy, right? We need to add him to the call actually, like, so he can start roasting as well. Like, this is real, dude. Okay.
Yeah, please invite.
We should actually.
Let's get the roar.
You know, let's. You know, this is not enough of a clusterfuck. Like, we need to make it more of one. Okay. Yeah. Let's go. Yeah, I don't know. It's sad. It is sad actually. I tell you what. I'll tell you what, guys. Let's do an experiment. Chat. Okay. Now this is a Guild Wars 2 stream. Okay. This is a Guild Wars 2 stream. Just out of interest, how many of you guys are playing not at all or considerably less, or struggle to find motivation with playing the game right now? Now,
what does considerably less mean? Like very little, or like you gotta
be more specific. Okay, honestly, I think we can even just say like just don't play at all. Just don't play at all. Honestly.
Well, yeah. I mean, don't play at all, or log in every 3 months. Yeah, consistently.
Like every few weeks, right? Like every few weeks, something like that.
Well, okay.
Yeah. You know, if you just
relative to what you used to before.
Yeah.
I've actually seen something that hits. Like I've seen, or I think it's Orofia who wrote, "I'm playing Guild Wars 2, but I wish I wasn't." And I think that's a very interesting statement, because that is endemic of how a lot of people are feeling towards the game, and how I was feeling before. The game, I wish I wasn't playing it, in the sense that I have nothing left to do in it. And that I could use the time I'm spending on this game on another game, or I could spend that time IRL, working on my career or socializing or whatever. But at the end of the day, this game is so good in its mechanics and its gameplay that I have no reason in hell to ever pick another game as my main one over it. Like, I'm playing Final Fantasy XIV, but I'll still go back to Guild Wars 2 because I prefer the gameplay there. And that's what I've done 4 or 5 times before. I've actually installed Final Fantasy XIV in and out a few times because I was thinking that was the right time. And then I always came back to Guild Wars 2 because I prefer the gameplay there. And that's how it is. Like, I wish I wasn't playing, in the sense that I wish it wasn't so good that I wouldn't be so compelled to go back to it when I'm playing something else. Because whenever I'm going to play another game, I'm still going to compare it to Guild Wars 2. I'm going to be like, this is not as active as I wish it was. Why am I getting rooted? Why am I stuck there? Fuck this shit. Guild Wars 2 better.
Yeah, I agree with Teapot that it's a chance for them to change with these layoffs.
Yeah, well, if anything, should be a wake-up call, right? Like, this should be it. I know it's really harsh to even say that, but to a certain extent, like, you have to start you have to be a bit cold about some of this stuff. To a certain extent, right? Like, I think you know, compassion and empathy is really important, but at the end of the day, the world isn't all sunshine and rainbows, guys. Like, at the end of the day, you have to make a good product. Okay, you have to make something that people want to buy. Like, I think you got to disconnect it from you know, the fact that the devs are good people and they work hard and they do their best. You have to then think, look, at the end of the day, they need to make money. Right? ArenaNet needs money. As a company, they need to be profitable, and they need to be attracting players, maintaining the player base, and selling those gemstone mounts, dude, okay? Oh, yeah. That's the real content, dude. Yeah, it's too late for any wake-up. You know what? You might be right, okay? But
absolutely,
it's still worth a shot. It is still worth it. Wow, Frosty.
It's too late for the plane. I'm sorry. Like, yeah, it's just not. It's not
Frosty's still on the plane.
Yeah.
I mean, how long has it not happened for? Let's look at that.
Frosty's just staring out the window at the ground.
Yeah. No, he's already off the plane, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
No, I think we all jumped and he's just sitting in there motionless. Like
I'm looking at the plane. I'm watching the plane.
Yeah.
From the distance.
Yeah, you got some outside perspective. You've jumped into another plane, the Osu plane, right?
Well, no, I've not jumped into a plane. I just jumped out, and then I'm like there on the ground, just sitting around there and just looking at the plane.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at right now. Because I still log in sometimes.
Yeah. For some ATs.
Yeah.
Like monthly AT, stuff like that.
I did Doom CM a few times.
Okay.
Because people asked me to come in for cells, you know?
Yep.
I still have people as friends in the game. So I play the game then.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I mean, I don't know. I just don't see myself playing it, right? Fuck the plane.
Yeah.
Listen, the plane is a good analogy. All right.
Yeah, no, I think it is. It's a fine one.
The sandwich, that's for sure.
Better the sandwich analogy.
Yeah. At least more fun.
Yeah, no, it's a big thing. Like, this is, I think we're all making valid points. It's not even points. This isn't even debate. We're just kind of describing the situation to a certain extent. Like I think we have kind of expressed like what we think will be better and how to fix these things. But to be honest, there's only so many ways you can dress up the same thing. Like there are a lot of core fundamental problems in our opinion. I think it'll be fair to say with the way that the Guild Wars 2 and ArenaNet is currently going, and it's really sad. Like the reason we're even talking about this, guys. Okay, a lot of people are going to say, "Wow, why are you guys so bothered about a video game?" One of the things that really triggers me is when I go on the internet, guys, and sometimes I get instantly triggered, right? Okay, I go somewhere I see, just don't play, just quit, you know,
okay.
or just log out for 3 months and come back when there's something to do. Okay, just go somewhere else. Look,
but that is the best play.
I know it is. Okay, but I like
get anything done.
Yeah,
okay,
but that's
so
a use.
For a casual
that's
player,
fucking.
this game is completely fine. It's an amazing game for a
Dude,
casual player.
that is borderline trolling, dude. Okay, that's what that comment is, right? That is borderline fucking trolling me, dude. Okay?
It is, and it's funny, but it's true.
Yeah.
Can we just go over what we think the smallest changes they could do to fix this are? I think what we already touched on are things like hard mode potentially, which Vallun I think is a good idea at least, and making mobs reactive.
Yeah. Using
the smart AI that they've got available. What
I think
could they change?
Build templates.
No, to be honest, the thing that would be the best to change would be communication. Like legitimately, I think the lowest effort, highest impact thing they could do is probably regarding marketing and communication. Like those, in my opinion, would make the game a lot more palatable for the veterans because they wouldn't be tearing their hair out and like not understanding what the hell is going on with the game, like so roadmap style. And with regards to marketing and stuff like that, that is just that's how you kind of drum up support for the game outside. I think there are so many potential players for Guild Wars 2 in other MMOs, right? Seriously, though, I think there. I mean, look at Ajax's stream title. Every single day, his stream title is like "WoW Refugees Welcome," right? Okay, and I think there are so many people who want to get away from other MMOs, like to kind of get out of the hamster wheel of the other like the generic boring MMOs, right? I think Guild Wars 2 does still have something fresh, right? It does still have something to offer that the other MMOs don't. It just seems to me that ArenaNet don't even believe that. Right? I honestly think that they are insecure about the quality of their own game. I can't believe I'm even saying that. Something has gone horribly wrong when I feel like the players are more confident in the product than the company selling it. And that, I think, is the core thing, okay, that has happened to Arena. I think they've lost faith in their own game. Right, I'm not even joking, dude. Okay?
The plane is really good. They could land anytime, but they're too scared to land.
Dude, the pilot is like, dude, this plane is fucking trash. Okay,
I'm not gonna land. Fuck this.
Yeah.
The most PMA stream.
This ultra PMA stream, like, oh, what I mean?
Actually, I don't think at any point we actually insulted everyone or called their work trash or said that they weren't able to do jack shit. Like, we're just pointing out some stuff that could receive improvements, which is completely fine. That's actually positive mental attitude. When you talk about improvements, it's positive.
Yeah, I think what TeaTime mentioned are probably the best things they could do right now, apart from just better content. I don't know.
Yeah,
that's what they should be going for. Absolutely. I don't know about the marketing though. I'm not sure how you would approach that, but yeah.
I think a good example would be, for example, do you remember the I guess you weren't really rating that much, Frosty, but do you remember Wing 5 release?
Oh, I know what it was though.
Yeah, you know about the thing, right? You know,
screenshot, right?
Yeah. So ArenaNet's promotion for Wing 5, the entirety of it, was a blurry, low resolution, and on low graphic setting screenshot of the start of Wing 5. Okay.
Yeah, you know, the ruins, that area, and it wasn't even a good angle or anything. It was like you couldn't see anything but a wall of the ruins.
Yeah.
Like only one side was somehow visible. I don't know how or why they did that. Maybe they had like, you know, taken a screenshot on accident, and like
Yeah.
the screenshot had deteriorated to like 600 by 400 pixels. I don't know. Something like that, right? Well, yeah, maybe
It's
they wanted
obvious
it to
that
be
the
like
marketing
I'm kidding.
a secret.
development team, so they didn't.
I just think that the way the game ends up getting marketed, right, is that only players within the game ever find out about anything, right? If you go to if you go to another forum, like another zone of discussion about MMOs, when Guild Wars 2 comes up, you get some very outdated opinions, right, about it. Like you hear a lot of like, oh yeah, that's a dead game, right? Oh, it's got no end game content. Oh, you know, there's nothing to do in that game. Something like, oh, it's like just ultra casual. I mean, the ultra casual thing is kind of true, but it has a lot of potential if you want to actually get into it.
Also kind of true.
Well, it's not that true. If you,
I mean, there's content when you first start out, but if you've actually played the game for a while, there's no content.
You're really on that plane, right?
Yeah.
Well, no, but I mean, if you like, Vallun has played the game for a while, right? I mean, obviously Vallun's a little bit different because he finds kind of everything to be content. You know, he's an achiever, all right? Like fucking 39k AP, right? That's insane. Yeah? Or Teapot. I mean, Teapot can do pretty much anything with his community. So he's got the community that kind of holds the content somehow like intact. But for somebody that has actually just played the game a lot, I don't know. It's hard to find anything to do.
Hard mode.
Well, hard mode could be cool, but I don't know. Like, it wouldn't bring me back in the game. Maybe I would log in for a day.
I know I do like the hard mode approach. I would love to see guild activities implemented that way. For example, what if you took your guild and you have to do some activities in a hard mode map? Like, what about hard mode chat Garant, right, with your guild? Sounds pretty fun, right? That could be kind of cool. Hard mode, well, more. I think some of the best content they've ever put in this game, unironically, is actually 100 CM and 99 CM. That's for fractals, like the challenge modes in 99 fractal and 100 fractal. So Nightmare and Shadow Observatory, guys. Some of the best content ever. I think that is really good, and should be implemented more. To be fair, when you start talking about hard modes, though, and I think this is where this argument really falls apart. It turns out that 99 CM and 100 CM are probably some of the lowest player engaging content in the entire game.
Yeah, but if you tie the reward to legendaries...
You think, whoa, do you think people will get good?
Do
you think
hardcore gifted
People would want it.
Oh, people would not like
want
that.
it. No, people wouldn't get good. No. The thing is, people wouldn't get good. People would farm open world to get gold to pay people better than them to do the.
We were talking about the landing. This is like crash landing. Okay, this is not good. No, not good.
Yeah.
Frosty the pilot. I'm confused.
I would love some that sort of thing. I would love prestige, but. Oh,
it's not even fucking prestige. It's a fucking.
That's not the thing, though.
Open world event.
Hard mode wouldn't be like unobtainable. It would just take a lot longer if you weren't that good. You know?
Yeah, but people don't like that. They fucking hate that, and that's their audience. That's who they cater.
People like vanquishing, didn't they?
What?
Yeah.
Didn't people? I don't know if you played Guild Wars 1, but didn't people like vanquishing?
Well, Guild Wars 1 also has a way different audience. It doesn't have Guild Wars 2's audience.
Yeah.
Vanquishing
is actually vanquishing. It's going to be completely different than vanquishing. I'm just saying, like, something that takes time and you can actually get better at it, as opposed to like current. You know, you can fail at this.
I don't know. I'm really uncertain how to put this. Like, because to me, Guild Wars 1, even like the end game stuff, like a lot of the hard mode elite dungeons are completely trivialized by 7 heroes and the correct setup. So I think it's very different. Like with Guild Wars 2, you're not if you have 5 players who are very, very casual and are not good, they're not skilled at the game, you will never beat 100 CM, like, ever. Like, the only way you're getting that end chest is by paying for it, right? That's the only way it's gonna happen. Like, Guild Wars 1 is different, right? Because the AI can beat it for you. It's true that
I'm not saying
you're never
it has like a fail like 100 CM. I'm saying, like, you know, something that is kind of dangerous, you know, challenging.
Yeah.
You can get it done eventually, right? But you know, it's something that you can achieve, not just like participate in.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, but your example was like get into, you know, hard mode, right?
That I think that would be something. Yeah, that could be a potential example.
Now, see, that's pretty easy still, because they won't make it so hard that you actually need a coordinated guild to kill it. There's no way they would do that. But people would still complain, just not even because it's too hard and they've tried it, but just because they heard that they made it harder or gave a hard mode for it and you get exclusive rewards from it. They hate that.
People cry. Yeah, but I think
people
Guilders
will
needs to
cry,
stop
but
listening
that's
to
the
it.
thing. They're scared to actually make those changes because that's their main audience. We are the 5%. Maybe not even that. I don't know.
Dude, you're nice when you say 5%. Trust me, we're nothing.
Really?
And revenue-wise, dude,
Is the population that high?
nothing compared to the player base, but we're even less compared on the revenue scale. When was the last time you spent money on Guild Wars 2? You can't even remember.
I will.
There you go.
I will. You know, when we talk about money, I reckon. I know I've spent more than the average Guild Wars 2 player. Like, I reckon I've dropped 2K on this game probably, in reality. Okay. Because
I don't
think that's relevant though, because veterans like usually can just gold to gems, right?
That's true, but I mean, I bought a bunch of old
exactly
accounts
what
too.
I'm saying. No, but that's exactly what I'm saying. Like,
Well, I'm not saying
we're not
I'm saying you're an
relevant
exception.
money-wise. Yeah, Teapot is an exception, but like none of us here is spending anything like the casuals do. We call them casuals because they don't play much. Guild Wars 2 thinks of us as casuals because we don't pay shit.
Well, yeah, no, you're not wrong there. Okay, now this is where we start to get into maybe I'm an idealist. Okay, but surely making a good game is a priority here as well, right? Like, not just making money. Like, money is great. Okay, you know, it's good, and I understand that they need money, and you know. When I see the mount skins, it doesn't bother me. I know a lot of people get triggered about like the loot boxes and shit like that, but I actually don't care about that at all. It's like, just don't buy it. You know what I mean? It's just you know, if you don't like it, just you know it's not compulsory. It's no advantage. Like when people complain about like anything in the gem store, I go, guys, are you fucking kidding me? You've got no sub fee. Okay, nothing is pay to win, right? At all. Like, it's not pay to win. Right? It's just cosmetics, and it's the cosmetics are.
Wish you had something.
Okay, but still, it's just I don't know. I just don't understand why people even care about this. But like, it's just I think the sacrificing like the quality of the game and not wanting to provide content that's actually good and not shallow and is actually engaging for players and kind of pushes the players, I think is really sad. I think ArenaNet should stick to their guns. I realize like Frosty is right that people would complain, okay? But at what point do you totally just bend the knee to these people, right? Like why? Because the thing is, you give them an inch and they've taken. Yeah, I know. That's what I mean. They've taken a mile, right? Like they you know, people were so mad with raids and HOT that there was that pushback, okay? And ArenaNet, instead of just saying, you know what, guys? Most people are actually pretty happy with it. Because honestly, most people are happy with all of this content, guys. Okay? That's fact. Okay?
They need to rely more on focus groups than they do on...
Well, yeah. I think that's true. I think ArenaNet listens to the cry of the mob too much, right? I think that will be fair. It's instead of actually getting down to the nitty gritty, and it's ironic actually, seeing as we think they use statistics to analyze PvP, right? Like, why don't they do that for everything else, right? Because look, what is the easiest way to elicit change in Guild Wars 2? It is unironically to start shit on Reddit, and that is real me. That is real news, boys. Okay, like, if you want something done, like, get to the top of that subreddit, boys, and you might actually have a chance of getting it done. But I don't know. I don't. Listening to the mob is a really bad idea because people on the internet are fucking dickheads. Okay, that's real, guys. Okay, people are emboldened to be, kind of rude and kind of mean
because you literally don't have to show people your face on the internet. That's why people say whatever the fuck they want. Someone was saying earlier in your chat that when the Walklaw released, people went quite ham on Reddit, saying that if that was the kind of content we were getting, it was only deserved that people got laid off. That's violent. That's super violent.
That's harsh as well.
And that was you, Fons. But like, what I mean is that's only because it's internet. That's exactly what you're saying. Like we can afford to say whatever the fuck we want, whereas on the other hand, you have people with their livelihood at stake. And if you don't play risky, you keep a job, you keep income, you keep a working game.
Yeah.
So like, there was no reason for them to change anything about what they're doing.
Yeah.
Ever.
Other than the fact that they have a cushion of backing of a whole company, right? Like, I mean, wasn't Guild Wars 2 supposed to be kind of risky? It was like MMO innovation. But they probably had a lot of support for that.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure they still have a lot of support still too, right?
They've dropped the innovation though. That's the thing, right? Like it isn't that anymore. Like,
right, with the layoffs,
yeah. As Frosty said, right? Like times change to a certain extent.
Yeah, but Teapot, what were you referencing to with like not looking at the statistics and the rest of the game?
I genuinely believe that when HOT release came out, and when raids came out, I think 90% of players were not outraged about it, right? If you asked 1,000 people, okay, it just like randomly, like in the game, like you went into like a fucking Auric basin and you asked everyone on that map, are you guys angry about raids? I can almost guarantee you that most of the casual players would go like, it's not for me. It's not for me, but I don't have a problem with it, right? Okay, it's only this very small vocal minority, as this is a term that Zorak uses, right? Toxic casuals, right? That actually feel this way, and unfortunately, those are the players that get listened to. Like, this is what I mean, right? But like, instead of actually relying on more like statistical analysis of like the broader player base, instead they see that top voted thread on Reddit, right? They see these stupid fucking memes, okay, about some of the stuff, and they implement it, right? I think a good example of this is actually a Scrapper and Tempest to a certain extent, right? Like, these classes were already pretty good, particularly in World versus World, right? These classes were actually already meta in World versus World, right? But they buffed them because because people say they're bad, right? Like, what, dude? Everyone's saying it's trash. Everyone's saying it's trash.
I don't know. I feel like that's maybe a little bit unrelated. Like, they must have been looking at raid stats as well, though, during the HOT launch, especially because they look at how many people are actually playing Wing 1 and shit, right? So if they should create like more raid wings and what pace and all that, but I mean, if you think what you're saying is correct, then people must have been doing a lot of raids, right? Or do you think that those people that weren't upset just don't play raids? They're just not upset.
When raids came out, and honestly, up until Wing 3, a lot of people were doing raids.
What about before raids came out? I mean, they didn't just say, let's give them raids. It was asked for, right? So why did people decide that they didn't like raids after?
Endgame group content that isn't going to be terrible, right? Is that?
Yeah. Right. That was actually the red shirt guy that said that. What do you wish for yours to PV that's not terrible? That was. The term.
Yeah, that's what he said. Yeah.
Yeah, the thing is, before we had raids in Guild Wars 2, you had people who did a lot of dungeons, and then they had played the dungeons so much that it was boring. And then they played fractals, and they played fractals so much that it became boring. They soloed fractals, they duoed fractals, they sold fractals. Then they wanted better content, and then more hardcore content that'd be available and that they could play with more people. So that's what raids came to be. It's just that's you can't. You just have a cycle that repeats itself. You get dungeons, you play all of them 10,000 times. Okay, move on to fractals. 10,000 times. Move on to raids. 10,000 times, and then what?
What did WoW do to maintain their player base for longer than Guild Wars?
They didn't.
Do you know how many
Exist.
wings they put out? Like, well, not even how many wings, but how many bosses in comparison. You know, like it's insane. There's so much more content.
Yeah. The gear grind is a thing that the gear treadmill does help with this, but I think the core thing is Frosty is right. Like, for example, in the time that it took for us to get like Wing 6, which is 3 bosses, I think, well, WoW released 2 raids rather, okay, both of which had over 8 bosses and 4 difficulty settings, right? And yes, it's Blizzard, guys. Like, it's a fucking big ass company, right? Like, they're going crazy. So it is a bit different, right? But still, the release schedule is a bit of a meme, and the meat of the content it's less meaty as well, because, and I understand that this is I would actually say this is not a criticism here. The game Guild Wars 2 is inherently easier, not only because of the game mechanics, but also because they don't want to lock raids to the top 0.1%. Like, realistic raids are done by about, I mean, if you look at efficiency stats, it's less than 10%, right? Like, generously, okay, is less than 10%. Like, realistically, it's probably closer to like 2 or 3%, I would say, who do raids, maybe 5% max. But you know, so they have to allow the game to be a bit less challenging for that, right? To allow a broader audience, right? Because there's no difficulty settings, right? And that's fine. And you know, that's fine. So there you go. Yeah, 17% of all accounts in Guild Wars have more than 25 LA. Yeah, that's biased in favor of raids though, and that's over like, well, how many years? Like 5 years of raids, like 4 years of raids. That's like 7 LI a year. That's not good. It's a little rough. It's a little rough.
Is that from Guild Wars 2 efficiency?
Yeah.
Oh, so it's also accounts that were manually input into the site, so it's probably a lot worse than that as well.
It's definitely a lot worse than that, because the accounts that are put on Guild Wars 2 efficiency are accounts of people that would care enough to check their own stats. Like, you need to take that into account. The average guy who plays once every 3 months for the Living Story release is not going to put his account in Guild Wars 2 efficiency, because he doesn't need to track jack shit. He's going to play, do all the achievements of the current Living Story, and be like, I completed my content. And he's going to be off. He doesn't need it.
Ultimately, here, I think this is where the conversation like this always spiral down into like the same pit, right? If that makes sense, it always goes the same way, in my opinion. And you find yourself in a situation where you just think the game has gone in a certain direction with regards to the community. The community is very used to being spoon-fed and handheld the entire way, not having to work for anything, no effort, no skill requirement, like no adaptation from the player. Like, ArenaNet will adapt to you. Okay. It always goes down this route, and you end up thinking, and I think I kind of agree with this, the only way this is salvageable, I do kind of feel this is too late. I'm just not sure if you can walk those community changes back. Like the player dynamics, the actual taste of the player base and the expectations of the player base have been so molded by ArenaNet quailing to them and kind of bending the knee so many times that I'm not even sure if you can walk that back at this point. Like, kind of where you know, to side with Frosty and like shut down the PMA, guys. Okay, I think that you need, at this point, you need something like Guild Wars 3. I think the only way to get what we want is actually with a new game. I think Guild Wars 2 may at this point actually be permanently lost to us. I don't think that or even if ArenaNet wanted to, I don't think they want to be fair. But even if they did want to, I'm not certain if you could actually push the community back up the hill of actually having to do something, right? And actually having to interact with the game.
I think it's worth a try with things like New Legendary.
I think it could. Oh, go on.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm sorry.
Oh,
I think it's worth a try, but you know, because well, I mean, it's probably not worth a try money-wise for them, but you know, it would be nice if they did that, right? I mean, they rather just steadily go down the hill while gaining money. Just, you know, stroll down the hill.
Yeah, I think probably one of the few things that people can do then, if Reddit has so much influence, is start making their own timelines for ArenaNet, put them up there on top posts, tell them what people want to see how many people.
Because you believe that hasn't been attempted before?
I don't read Reddit for sanity, so.
Okay, well, I used to read Reddit because I was that bored at work. So they actually, like, you have quite often people that say, oh, this would be good to get into the game, and these posts get like quite a bit of traction. So they come regularly, and then we also had at some point an initiative on the Gears forums, the official ones, that we would have among the players and forum posters, someone chosen to be like some sort of like link between ArenaNet and a specific forum section. They would look at the topics and like move the info up towards ArenaNet. So there were attempts to try and get the information from the community, but it hasn't gone anywhere. So like there was an attempt and it just didn't work. However, if they actually tried to make something different in the game, they could probably manage to get the player base back together and working together. Just because if they actually do something right, they are going to be praised for it. Because when you're in a situation where you have a history of making stuff that hasn't been received positively by your player base, the moment you do something that's positive, people are going to praise it just because suddenly it's so good. So I think that if they actually tried and got some stuff correct, they would get the like proper traction from it because of the player base.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Actually, it's a long road though. That's the problem. I think consistency is going to be key there, right? Because. And also they do, in a way, they do need to step it up a notch as well. If you look at the raid scene, right? I think the raid scene is the best example of this in my opinion, or certainly the one I'm the most familiar with. I think the same could be said for PvP as well, actually. But after the massive gap between Wing 3 and Wing 4, 4 and 5 and 5 and 6, the raid, even when that content came, right, and it was great. Like Wing 4, in my opinion, was actually really good. Like Wing 4, a lot of people hated on it, but I actually think it was a really good design philosophy, like having like a really, really easy mode and then a hard mode as well. I think that was actually a very good approach. And I said so at the time, by the way, guys, just saying. No one else, though. Pepe hands. Okay. And Wing 5, again, great raid wing. Doom, Desmina, nice. Wing 6 may even be the best raid wing. Like some really fantastic implementation. But when Wing 6 came out, the raid population never really recovered back up to what it was around Wing 5. Okay, and when Wing 5 came out, it never recovered to the point of like the Wing 3 when Wing 3 was out, right? Like it needs to be consistent and it needs to be more timely as well. Okay, if you do one raid a year with zero communication, people aren't going to come back. People are like rage quitting, rage quit, and they don't look back, right? Unfortunately, so you either need to like attract new players, or you have to be consistent and deliver well, right? Okay, and deliver constantly as well, like across all the games. Like you can't just like alternate between them, right? That's not going to work out. Like releasing something for once every year for each game mode ain't gonna cut it. Okay, it's not gonna work.
PvP is a bit different because like balance is kind of content for PvP. It's you don't really get that much content otherwise. It's like you got ATs, right? And you got like the new ranked system instead of the PEP system and all that, right? Those were like content patches, and they actually, well, I don't know about ATs, but at least the ranked system, that one brought back a lot of people. Not for long though, but a lot of people for a little while.
The easiest content for them to do too, just patch.
Yeah, but the balance doesn't bring back people. If people quit the game, they're not going to look at the balance and think, oh, well, it's less cancerous. Let's go back. Nah, that's just going to keep the existing people in the game.
When it comes to the PvP, I think personally that the thing that qualifies as content for PvP is not so much the balance, because that's only like a mean.
But that's the content that you have.
Itself. It is the content that we have, but the real content in PvP is getting a new map, a new game mode, or getting an expansion, because then you get 9 new classes, or 9 new specialization. And that's actually going to change something major in PvP. That's the only type of actual content.
They better
New game
rewards.
Better rewards. Rewards aren't content.
Better rewards,
That's
simple.
But better rewards are not content. That's
No,
something
but they
that
do
actually.
get the player base up. Player base up is content.
Yeah. Play base comes for rewards, but like you can't make content from that. Like just you can't say we have players playing, so that means we have content. When rewards are the only reason why they're playing, because the second when they have the
I
reward,
don't care why they're playing. I just want to kill.
No, it's a means to an end. I think it's
but that doesn't work in the long term. Like once the people have the reward, they're gone. We had a season that was finally rewarding at some point, and then people played, and literally the season after, they nerfed the rewards back to what they were before, and everyone failed.
There were more factors than that, because it was also the first non-PIP season as well. So you can't really just attribute it to just that.
Yeah. Nope. You gotta think bigger than just a simple reward. You have to really think big.
Well, I think it can actually just be almost like a financial reward, right? As in like a monetary reward in the game, right? I think you don't even have to think that big. I think you need a coordinated strike, though. Okay, like ArenaNet can't just do one thing. I think a lot of things need to change. For example, I think the mount. I'm not a big fan of the mount. This is known. Okay, this is known. But I think the mount really could have hooked up World versus World. But here's the thing. They forgot to fix the game first. They brought the players, a crazy amount of people were playing, right? But they forgot to fix the game. Oh, ouch. Okay, they really fucked up there, didn't they? They forgot to make World versus World fun for new players before they brought the new players, right? Big mistake. What they needed to do, right, was add a reason to capture stuff. Add a reason to actually play the game, like be good at the game, to like win the matchup, to do well in World versus World, fix the fucking balance. You know, yeah, do that, and then add mount, and then suddenly, boom, you've got an influx of players who previously thought that World vs. World is garbage, I'm never going to play that, and then they go in to get the mount, but then the carrot lures them in, and then suddenly, oh shit, the game mode's fun, and then they play World vs. World. Okay, and the same can be done for PvP, right? A lot of new players are frustrated with the balance, so like Scrapper, Mirage, the insane damage, right, output of everything. Okay, so what ArenaNet should do, okay, no, they don't add mounts. Okay,
don't do it. Don't do it.
Please do.
No, they don't add mounts. Don't add the mounts. Look, the maps are already tiny. They don't need mounts, guys. Okay, they don't need mounts.
You get like a teeny turtle.
Yeah. Yeah,
it would make Necro viable in solo queue again.
Yes, Necro viable, amazing.
If you can solo queue on a Power Reaper, what are you saying? No. It's all fine.
Okay,
but no rewards.
So you rework the balance, right, to make it more accessible for new players. Okay, you know, maybe, well, actually they are doing this. Have you seen that a lot of people are getting banned for toxicity? Actually, this is real, actually, guys. Okay, they are this more so though. I mean, you know, they've been really going on people. Like they banned half of NA. Half of NA's gone, guys. That's real. All of it.
Well, maybe it's different on NA because I don't know the NA community that well, but it's always been that for you. If you say stuff in map or say chat, you know, you're kind of fucked, right? Like, you know, if you say the N-word 2 days before the monthly, well, good luck, buddy. You know, if you're Leto, well, maybe you shouldn't play the game. That's
a
just...
tutorial would be a place to start for new players if they added in some really big rewards, some monetary incentives, skin incentives. Yeah. Imagine a tutorial. How hard is that?
Yeah, that would be good. Now, the tutorial is a bit, again, with a tutorial, I think it is a bit tricky for it to implement because of how complicated the game is. It will become outdated pretty fast, right? I guess you could do some generic stuff. For example, in the game, like you could just play Vallun's guide to rotation video. That could just be in the game, right? You could just have that in the game, the entire thing, right? That would be good, right? It's ASMR. It's good
for all metas, not just a certain meta.
Exactly.
When it comes to like tutorials within the game, they've tried it, and I'd rather never see that again in my life. Like, please, the new player experience, that was horrible.
Ooh, yeah, that was a fuck
These
up.
areas that are supposed to let you like learn to dodge and whatever else they added to the new, like to the starting areas to try and teach you the game, that was, in my opinion, a waste of resources. And I don't call something a waste of resources often. That was just simply useless. Why?
I mean,
So
imagine
please,
new
never
PvP.
again.
Wasn't it around that time that leveling just became really, really annoying and boring?
Correct.
I think so. Because I actually used to like leveling way back.
Wait,
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
I
was-
mean,
do you know what the
I
bonus?
enjoyed leveling when it was putting your character in a dungeon and waiting for it to finish to
Oh,
get
I
yourself
remember
1,000
that.
experience. Yeah, boy.
Do you know this
That's how I
bonus?
leveled like 8 characters.
You know this? Do you know the bonus meme, Frosty, about the new player experience when they implemented that?
Yeah.
It actually made the story, one of the storylines, actually not make sense. Yeah.
What do you mean?
I believe, you know, the one where you take Magister Siren, so when you take the Derman Priory, I believe it like unironically made the story just not make any sense anymore. Like, it had a plot, it had like holes that you just missed. Just didn't make any sense anymore. So like,
Well, I've
bonus
I've never gone that far after they reworked it, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, after they reworked it, I never leveled again. Ever.
Tomes.
Literally just used tomes.
Well, I mean that's a good feature of Guild Wars 2. There's big tomes, man. That's some good shit.
Yeah.
But anyway, to drag it back, okay. The approach should be right. Fix the game mode, bait players into the game mode, right? Okay, and I think this can be done for the raids. So world versus world, fix the balance, add seasons and alliances, then bam, hit them with the rewards, hit them with the mount. Okay, get those players in trying that game mode. PvP, okay. You know, let's rework the balance a little bit, make it more friendly for new players. Maybe add a tutorial on like understanding rotation. Hey, you don't have to 1v1 that scrapper because you can just dodge him. You can dodge his ass, right? Okay, you know what I'm saying? Something like that. Okay, and then
Maybe
boom,
add a cast time to overcharge shot.
you add a cast time to overcharge shot, okay? And then boom, hit him with the rewards, right? Like whammo, hit him with the rewards, lure in the players to get revitalize the game mode. Ooh, okay. I think a really good thing actually, by the way, to get people playing PvP. The key to PvP is competition, right? Being competitive, right? We know this. This is true. Guild Wars 2 PvP is not competitive. It's effectively, I reckon, 1% of the player base plays it competitively. 99% play it to farm rewards. That's probably not that unfair, right? Okay, you know, I'm exaggerating, but it's not that far from the truth. What you need to do is you need to make being competitive very good, okay? And I know some people might not like this, some people might hate this, but I think a really good way to do this will be to add tournament reward tokens in daily ATs, for example, for coming first and second. Maybe only first, actually, okay? But make winning those daily ATs like a little hop, right? Little hop. And make it, again, give you, buff the rewards for being better at the game, right, as well. So if you're, make it so that if you,
do it anyway.
well, yeah, it's worth a shot, right? Like, it's pretty
I don't
easy.
think they're going to win. It's not worth a shot to them.
They have to be first, second, and third. Then you get like a diminishing return.
Yeah.
It's I don't know. And I think ranked also has people that just play for fun. Those people. So people that don't necessarily play that competitively, but also just don't play for rewards.
Wait.
I think playing for fun. I think
Wait, there
those
are people that play PvP not for fun at this point?
I mean,
I play
I don't know.
PvP so I can get dunked on by you because that's my enjoyment with the morning
So
coffee.
bitter, man.
Makes it taste even more bitter. Yeah, I mean that's how I like my coffee. He helps.
Why are you complaining?
Nah, just kidding. I mean, I play PvP because it's genuinely fun. Because like I can beat people, I can win
I
games.
mean,
That's-
there's really no
that's
reward
why I
left
play.
in PvP.
the reward.
I mean, there's
is the
more
journey.
rewards in
The
PvP than
reward
raids,
is the
let's be
journey.
honest.
But man, the reward is when at the end of the game you see someone in the enemy team writing "Good game, I had the worst monkeys." That is the reward. That is the moment when you feel good.
Okay.
yeah.
Literally it. It's just the moment when you win. That's all there is to it. That's why you play competitive games. You play to win.
But I think most
Winning in
people
itself is
actually,
the reward.
I think most people actually do play for fun like that. And if ranked becomes not fun, it's really bad for
Yeah.
PvP. And I
Mm.
think it's
Duo
not
rank.
fun.
That's true.
I'm
Duo
not
rank
sure,
is very fun.
'cause I don't
I'm
play.
having fun.
That's true. And
It is?
well, yeah, I think, I don't think the game is it's. I think so, it has to be. It has its frustrating moments. It's true, but I think it's it's a pretty good time. And then, well, but again, like, you know, fix the game mode, like add some tutorials, help people get into it, make it easy to get into and understand what's going on. Because the complaint that players have with PvP is they go in, they get in PvP, and then bam, they just get one shot, just utterly destroyed by something. Or like, dude, what is this Scrapper doing? He's going crazy. Like, what the fuck is this bullshit, right? Oh, this Soul Beast is like, he's taking us 1v3. What the hell is going on? And it's true that to a certain extent, the player should put in effort, right? But we're in Guild Wars 2. The player isn't going to put any effort. We've got to, you know, the player needs to be assisted, right? Okay, you know, just take them by the hand and gently lead them down the garden path into the wonderful, wonderful world of rotations and matchups and right and stuff like that. Okay, and builds. Okay, I think one of the Hearthstone implemented this right now. Okay. And Guild Wars 2, ArenaNet need to learn from this. If you take like your shitty cards that you like in Hearthstone, what it will do, and you put them in a deck, and if you hit autocomplete, it will now use its mega brain to like look up the highest win rate possible for with those set of cards, right? And then like mix that up with all the other really good cards, right? To give you the highest win rate deck possible. Like that needs to happen in Guild Wars 2. Like, if you play Rev, it just gives you the highest win rate Rev build. Boom. Okay. Surely they have stats on that. If not, they can just give you a good Rev build. Like simple as that. It would
also
right?
be really interesting to actually see what their stats are, like what the best builds are. That's actually really cool. Really cool.
I think that would actually be a good thing, right? And it is doable. I mean, it's that, you know, that's not, you know, pay to win stuff. How is it paid? It's not pay to win, dude. It would work even better here. You don't even need to have the cards in you don't need to have the cards because, you know, there's no fucking cards in Guild Wars 2, right? That will be kind of fun, right? And then once you have these systems in place, that's when you drop the big rewards. Like, ooh, suddenly PvP is lucrative. It's better than Istan, guys. It's better than Silver Wastes. Holy shit. Okay? Whoa. And especially if you're good at the game. Like, you want to really promote winning, right? Like, winning should be the focus. Sorry, yeah, go ahead, Van.
The open world dies then. Because you brought all the players who played open world for the rewards to PvP.
Well, no, sorry, I also completely called out the wrong person there. But also, nice meme. Okay, I'm paying attention. I'm fresh. I'm fucking fresh, boys.
Won't somebody think of Istan? Oh my god.
But no, I think, yeah, that's fair, but people aren't just going to quit open world. They're going to play open world and a bit of PvP. Open world and a bit of world versus world, right? You know, isn't that kind of the point of open world, to kind of almost be like the filler content between playing the other game modes? I think that's fine, right? That's not, I don't think that's a problem.
Needs to be like a chill mode, right? Not always like under fire by like, you know, a bunch of monkeys.
Yeah. I guess, you know, chill mode is open world, right? Like it's very inconsequential. Your contribution is irrelevant. Yeah. There you go. Yeah, but open world. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. If you have people in PvP, it satisfies more players, right? Because there's 2 people benefiting for each encounter, then, as opposed to just 1.
Exactly.
Like, you don't add anything to open world. Sorry, that sounds harsh, but you.
Holy shit. Don't add anything. Well, yeah, you're not wrong. I mean, like, for PvP to function, you need other players, right? That's just how it goes, right? You need more than 1 player, more than 5. Otherwise, it's just not going to cut it. And I think the same is true for raids. Like, raids are on hard life support right now. It's pretty rough. Okay, it really is, and I would say fractals are in a similar spot. Like, realistically, what needs to happen is easy mode at this point, right? And guys, you can scream and shout. This is not for debate. What needs to happen is like a borderline unfailable game mode, right? There is it gives you like some really mediocre ass rewards, okay, and it kind of baits you into the game mode, and then you want to try the harder bosses, right? Honestly, some kind of dungeon guide as well would be really good. Say it recommends that you start with Wing 4, for example, like do Mercer Overseer. That's really easy, right? Like Samrog's really easy. Then after you've done Wing 4, hey, why not try Veil Guardian? That would be pretty good.
LFR is, you know, that's how it would be cool to implement.
Yeah.
Just, you know, make a button that you press and then you get in a raid.
Yeah.
And it's really easy.
Yeah. Auto group will be a really big deal, actually. And the thing is, it could be big brain, right? Like, it's not like ArenaNet couldn't make it big brain. ArenaNet knows that the recipe for success is double chrono. Well, actually, it might be Firebrand Renegade now, actually, to be fair, actually.
I mean, you could
But look,
I don't know, like the easy modes are going to be so easy. You don't need a fucking tank or chrono or whatever. You can just go with anything, but you could make it so that you pick your role. So if you actually know what you're doing, then you get.
Isn't there also
I don't think you can possibly make auto queue because like there is auto queue in Final Fantasy XIV, for example, and it's role based. In Guild Wars 2, you can swap your gear and traits anytime. I can load into a raid as a power soul beast. And within 10 seconds, by using LDPS, I'm going to be a druid with a healer set. Like, you can't make with a group. You're just going to end up having 10 people playing whatever the fuck they want once they've loaded in. Because you can't lock the build onto them, nor lock the class.
I don't know. That's fine for the LFR difficulty, at least. I mean, I don't know. Like, it's not going to be an issue when the raid is so easy that you could beat it alone. You know? Like, I don't know. It's not gonna matter for that difficulty. Making like an auto search for real raids would be a lot different. But yeah.
Yeah. And I think some kind of system like that will be really good. And it's true that it's not going to get a lot of people into the higher difficulties. Most people will be satisfied with the easy one. But the thing is, guys, people always make the comparison to WoW, and I agree. LFR was a terrible decision for World of Warcraft, actually. I know it sounds harsh, but increasing the accessibility of World of Warcraft and making it like an ultra-casual, easy mode game actually doomed World of Warcraft. It really did. If you take a look at the subscriber numbers in Wrath of the Lich King, which is where these changes started to be implemented, they actually peaked, and then after that, it dropped like a fucking rock to where we're at now. And BFA is a disaster actually for this.
You don't think it's because they ended the storyline from Warcraft 3?
Well, to be fair,
story.
Actually, I think people did care about the story, and I think that is something to do with it. I think Wrath of the Lich King was very much was a very hype thing, okay, because of a lot of the lore elements, right? So obviously, of course, right, the Wrath was going to do really well, right?
Most of the players got in during Wrath in the game.
Yeah. But that's because the game was like ultra established at that point. Like a lot of people consider Wrath to be the peak, actually, of WoW, like in terms of like the goodness of the game, right? Okay. But yeah. I think in Guild Wars 2 it's fine, like adding something like LFR, because the game is already very, very casual anyway, right? So you might as well try and be relatively inclusive. I think for Guild Wars 2, being inclusive is the right way to do it, because otherwise, if you're not, it's be inclusive or die, guys. I hate to say it. It's either raids become more inclusive or raids are going to be dead content. Right? If we don't have stuff like easy mode and auto group finder, then there will be no more raids. That is fact. We've seen it with Fractal CMs, guys. Fractal CMs are too hard. Having 5 players and hard content is too much for Guild Wars 2, right? Because there hasn't been a CM in 2 years. Why is this? It's because people found it too hard and almost no one did them, right? Because in a 5-player situation, which is very punishing, and everyone's contribution is important, that content is not sustainable within Guild Wars 2. It's accessibility or die, right? And that's real talk, guys, okay, in Guild Wars 2.
Well, the point of that is accessibility allows more people to get good and more people to want the harder content, right? That's the only way you get those people. You're not getting them back. You got to make...
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And that's why I think a lot of the accessibility is really important, right? That's why an easy mode will be good. Why tutorial systems in PvP would be really good, because it would allow people to be ease into the game, like understand the game better, and then learn, and then eventually climb that ladder, right? Same with World versus World. Like if you had some kind of tutorial, some kind of aim, kind of goals to help players understand what they're supposed to be doing, like what is going to be good there. Yeah, you're gonna increase retention as well. I think Guild Wars 2 really struggles with. Ironically, even though it's a very casual game, I actually think it really struggles with accessibility and getting players into the game modes that aren't open world. I think it really struggles to gain and retain players. Again, look at the mount, right? Guild Wars 2 had that insurgence of a huge amount of players, right? Thanks to the mount, and they're all gone. Because they didn't find it fun, probably, I guess. They just wanted the reward, then they buggered off, right? But to be honest, like I think, yeah, you're never going to have 100% retention, right? You're not going to be able to say, you know what? All of them joined World vs. World, they had a great time, and they stayed there, right? That's not going to happen, and that's fine. That's completely, it's not for everyone. That's completely fine. Nothing wrong with playing for rewards, guys, okay? Nothing wrong with that. But if you if you're able to actually get the players a proper experience of this game and get them a proper experience into PvP, into World vs. World, then I think you'll find yourself having a much better player retention rate. And as a result of that, your game mode will grow. But without these reforms, without these big changes to the game, even if you bring in a lot of population, you won't be able to capitalize on it. So in a way, I think ArenaNet are kind of hamstringing themselves, right? With this, like they are doing good things. I would even grant that the mount was a good idea to increase population, right? I'm not a big fan of it, but I think it was a good idea to increase the population of the world. But they didn't do the other half. They forgot to actually fix the game first, right? And that's not going to cut it. You cannot do a half-ass job in this situation. ArenaNet needs to go all in, get in the fucking mix, and get the job done. Okay? That's what needs to happen, and that is what, unfortunately, ArenaNet has consistently failed to do. There we go. Rant over. Someone else say something now.
Do you actually think that the mount was bad for World v. World?
I don't like the idea of it. I think I didn't think it would actually have much of an effect on the gameplay. It didn't. My major concern with it now is that it makes defending easier. But no, I think even actually on launch, I think it was actually fine. It wouldn't have affected the gameplay that much. The thing is that it does make ganking harder. And that is a legitimate concern. That is, I understand. That is something that people enjoy. That people do like ganking, like picking off Zerglings. Now picking off people who are returning to the Zerg is considerably more difficult with the mount, with the evade, stuff like that. That is a legitimate concern. I understand that. But I actually think it's a worthwhile trade. Like going around faster with the mount, I think is good. But the fact that it doesn't affect combat is also good as well, right? So yeah, I would say that overall the mount is probably actually a net positive.
It also makes it like a lot harder to get like Zerg down, because like if you just mount, there's no way you can die. So it's kind of like you have to like kind of agree to fight someone. So I mean, as a thief player, it's worse, but I think even then, I feel like it's better.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think it's probably not too bad. You know, no, and as the chat is saying, this is a big thing. What Sakura Blue is saying, this is the true concern, right? The defensive nature of this with gliding and mounts. It is, I mean, good fucking luck taking Garrison now, boys. Okay, good fucking luck taking anything if people want you to. This is something that I actually think that ArenaNet do want to address, as I understand it. The ease of defending, like the defender's advantage in Guild Wars 2 and World vs. World, with the emergency waypoint, with the invulnerable fortifications, with bloody Ironhide
well, maybe
Lord.
They can nerf some of the like defenses to make up for the fact that.
Oh yeah, yeah,
because.
They
like,
need
that's
to do
what you really want to do is you want to be fighting players. So I think that the mount is good. They just need to make it less PV door, you know?
Yeah, I think they need to rework how capturing works. I actually think they need to... I think the cap circle thing has to go. Because as it stands right now, getting back to that cap circle while defending, you die, come back, is so fast, right? If you're like a massive Zerg of 50 people, right? If 20 people or like 15 people don't want you to cap something, there's just no way you can do it. And the thing is, you might say, well, defender's advantage, no shit, right? But here's the thing, right? If the defenders... that you should not be able to stop someone if they've taken down all your fortifications, killed the Lord, killed all your siege, and all they have to do is get you out of a fucking circle. If they can't do that, because you're getting back to the circle so fast, okay, that they cannot kill you in time, because you're like running around in circles like fucking crazy with your 20 defenders, your 20 goons, while you slowly pick them off and slowly win, that's a problem, okay? And that is how it goes. Like, unless you have ridiculously overwhelming odds, or you're a lot better than the enemies, like, you ain't capping shit, okay? But to be fair, that was actually before the patch as well, but now it's obviously worse with the mount, right? That's, yeah. But anyway, as it stands, right, with regards to the mount, I do think it probably was a good thing overall. Like, it probably was a good thing. Like, the defender thing is annoying, is kind of stupid, and now you can't gank people. But I don't know. Some people like the ganking. I think ganking is stupid. Like if you want to roam, guys, just go pick on someone who actually wants to fight you, not some like random necro.
Yeah, just go fight like an actual roamer, not on like fodder. Because like a roamer will actually choose to fight you.
Yeah.
I think doing more instanced world would be nice.
Sorry, say again?
Oh, go ahead.
No, go on. I was just making a joke.
I know, like, Vallun and I were talking about this earlier. ArenaNet wanted to get away from instanced things, like they had in Guild Wars 1, but I think that could add a lot to guilds, to community, if they had more instanced, you know, like have 2 guilds team up versus 2 guilds, a tournament.
Like the guild spawning system.
GVG.
With dragons.
GVG, imagine that.
In Guild Wars? Come on, please, buddy. Like, what are you saying here? What do you mean? Okay. What?
The game titles.
Guild Wars and Guild Wars 2? Come on. Like, what, are you kidding me? That's too much of a stretch. Right? That's too much of a stretch. Ridiculous. Yeah, no. I mean, sure. I think that might be a bit off the menu at this point, but I think it could be cool. Yeah, like organized fights are actually the best part of Guild Wars 2. And we've seen, okay, now this is conspiracy, guys, but this is a really good theory. Okay, this is a good theory. I like this, right? The new paid, lobby, right, in World versus World Armistice Bastion has an arena, right, with World versus World balance, right? So they can do it, and it's got proper spectating, proper team system as well. So they can do it, right? So hey, maybe it's time to finally fix the guild.
Controlled, so it's kind of weird.
Well, it just shows that they have the capacity to actually they have effectively added GVG, like that system. If they allowed you to make your own instance with guilds, or like in the guild hall or something like that, and then have that same spectate system, that would be good enough for GVG. Although, you know, I don't know, GVG is an unsupported game mode, right? So it's a little bit of a digression, right? But still, it will be a fun thing, right? It will be a fun thing.
I mean, but imagine if they could make World v World tournaments where guilds would be on, like you get randomly assigned another guild, or you could choose your other guild and you would face 2 guilds versus 2 guilds, and you'd have, what, an hour timer or something? I don't World v World, but that sounds fun.
I think that is the aim with alliances, in a way, right? That will probably be something a bit like alliances, right? At the end of the day, you'll have these matchups, right, where you're assigned with a bunch of guilds, right? You're in this alliance with a bunch of lads, okay, and you get up against another bunch of guilds, right? And you've got a week. I mean, it's a bit longer than an hour, right? But still, you've got a week to hash it out, and whoever wins are the best guilds. Boom. And I think alliances will be a really great thing, but I genuinely hope that they've rectified some of the problems with the game mode by the time they bring out alliances, because alliances actually might bring back that pride, that competitive feeling, right, back into the game. But if they haven't fixed the Omega aids by then it's all going to be for nothing, right? This is what I mean. ArenaNet, please don't fuck this up. Just fix the game before alliances. Make it sure so winning is good. Like make it so that winning the matchup does something. Really emphasize guild pride. Emphasize on winning, on playing well, actually getting the job done, and then hit alliances. And I'll tell you what, when it comes out, listen up, ArenaNet. I'm looking at you, PR team. Okay, right? I want you guys to promote it. Okay, because this is gonna sound, you know, I'm gonna bash every other game mode, guys. If there's any game mode that Guild Wars 2 does better than any other game, it's actually World versus World. As funny as that sounds, right? World versus World is as close to it is probably Guild Wars 2's best unique selling point. No other game does RVR as well as Guild Wars 2. Right? It plays remarkably well. It doesn't actually lag that badly. You know, people always say, like, "Oh, it's 2 FPS, 2 FPS."
It's definitely better than it used to be.
But it's better than you'd actually expect, right? It's better than you'd expect. And Yeah, just make it good, promote it, almost like relaunch it, okay? And let's fucking go. We don't care about castles. Well, here's the thing. You know why you don't care about castles in World vs. World? Because you don't get anything from capturing them. Winning is meaningless, and it's also not fun. This is another thing that needs to be addressed in World vs. World. Attacking things ain't fun. It's AIDS. You get through the gate, it takes you 10 years. Then they keep rezzing the Lord, and people keep going back into the circle, and you can't capture it. Memes. Okay?
Yeah, they just need to be bold.
Yeah.
Make a big
The
change.
snowflakes on their arrow carts.
Yeah, the ACs are quite annoying. Oh, I don't know. I hate to say it, but a bit of this is a bit of a learn to play issue. Like, it doesn't help that not many people are, well, almost no one is really that good at World vs. World. It's pretty easy to out-sustain this stuff, in my opinion. You just have to be competent, but competence is hard to find in World vs. World. but there you go. There you have it. But I don't know. The skill lag, yeah, and a farmer is right here. The skill lag should be fixed. It's not that bad, unless it gets into like a proper mega Zerg fest. You don't typically lag now, but I agree. If they were able to resolve that, that would be better. That might be a tech limitation, though, at the end of the day. They already have nice servers, right? They're on the Amazon servers, and Amazon servers are, you know, you're not going to get much better than that, right? It's you know, that AWS. Oh, sorry, say it. Go ahead.
I'm mad about the Amazon servers personally.
Oh really? Why?
Yeah, well, it's a personal thing. It killed my ping in Japan for EU. So.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. If it comes, for that kind of thing, then for ping latency and server location, I can understand that. Yeah, okay, yeah. No, I completely get that. That is a bit unfortunate, actually. There's a good chunk of the player base actually that does suffer with just high ping all the time, right? Depending on your location in the United States, or if you're not in NA or EU, then yeah, you kind of get wrecked actually, don't you? Huh?
Yep.
Feels bad.
200 NA, 250 NA, and 400 to 500.
Oh, yeah, that's not.
Yeah, it used to be 200.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny because my ping on NA is better than yours, Dan.
I know, it's bullshit. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I have less than 100. Feels good, man.
I'm not like
How do you have less than 100? What the fuck?
Seriously.
Fiverr, man. Shit's good here.
Jesus.
Wait, I guess I can get away with this. Like, I haven't really. I'm pretty lucky, I guess. Like on EU, I get about 40 MS, and on NA, I actually get about 100. So, easy.
Welcome to the club, bro.
Yeah, me and Sam, the low latency brotherhood. Okay, that's what that is. But there you go.
Again, the ping has never been an issue to play Guild Wars 2. Like, it's not really a problem. What I mean by that is that it's more annoying to have ping spikes than it is to have high ping. If your ping is high, you can still manage. If you have spikes, then it becomes unplayable.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. As long as it's consistent and not too high.
Can someone explain the difference between ping and internet in chat? Because I don't think I can do it without getting.
Just have good internet, dude. Well, basically, look, let's not chat. Okay, like server location matters. Okay, like if you're really far away, you're gonna get memed. Pretty much. That's a good way of putting it. You're gonna get memed on really hard.
It's not really like the distance to the server. It's like the quality of the infrastructure between where you are and where the server is. That's the thing. Like I had a guildie of mine who lived like literally half an hour from the servers in Germany, and he had a worse ping than me, who was living in France at the time. You would expect it would be the opposite. It's really just the infrastructure.
Huh. Well, there you go. Boom. What were we talking about, guys? Like, how did this even happen? How did we arrive at this location? Do we have anything else to say? It's got crazy.
Marketing.
Oh yeah, fix the game modes.
Marketing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just fix the game for HUD. I don't know about. What else are you going to talk about?
I mean, fixing the game is like
just
quite
fix it.
Why? They need to focus on like a few key points that are the major priorities.
True shot range.
You can't just say fix the game, because then there is such a huge list that they need to like make priority items out of the list. Like maybe take like, what about you guys? What would be your top 3 things that need to change? Just 3, not more than that.
Okay.
Balance counts as like 1, so that's okay.
Make ranked fun.
That's wide.
I think I think balance has to be number one actually at this point. I really think that balance needs to be ironed out in PvP and World vs. World like immediately. At that game, those gamers need to be more friendly to new players. And I think it should, in theory, right? It's a relatively easy thing to change. It's not that they're adding actual content, right? I think a balance patch is the best way to add content without actually adding content, right? Because it's even if you only play something like raids, it's still new builds to play with, right? And like new stuff to experiment with. So yeah, like balance is number one, and then I think a proper roadmap and scheduling is a big deal. But I don't know. What do you guys think? What do you guys think about this?
I agree on your 2 points so far. Yeah. These would also be my top 2.
Yeah.
So like my third one being like, so you said the roadmap, the third one being communication. There was a decent attempt with the latest balance patches where they actually said, this is what we intended with our changes on this specific class. And it allows us to understand what are the underlying thoughts and what's the direction where they want to take a specific class or a specific build, gameplay-wise. And that's something. So I'd say that communication is already sort of being addressed. Like, they are trying, and just that already makes me feel better about it. So like communication is somewhere in what needs to be changed, but yeah, balance and the roadmap are definitely up there. And then probably what we talked about earlier, the accessibility, like something that needs to be changed in order to make what seems to be out of reach of the common player closer to their reach. Be it raids, be it ranked, be it whatever they seem to see as an unsurmountable rock, just make it there. Balance, roadmap, accessibility. Yeah. What about the others? So TeaPot said his. I'm with him on them. Yeah. What about you three?
Well, short term or long term? Oh, Frosty, you do yours.
I definitely say that fixed ranked is one. Just make it fun. I don't know how you're gonna do it, but you need to make it fun. Then raids, more content, and World vs. World fix the balance. Done. Then it will be fun for an actual good player, like a player that spends time in the game. If you just do those 3 things. I mean, they're hard to do, but you know.
Yeah. Well, it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy, and it's a long road. That's 100% true.
How to fix the balance? Just make it so that World vs. World. Okay, I mean, TeaTime is going to know a lot more about World vs. World than me. I don't even care about the game mode that much myself. I just included all the game modes because I don't think just focusing on one game mode is going to help much, right? So yeah, just make the fights much more fun. I think just Scourge and Firebrand are pretty cancer.
Yeah.
So maybe you shouldn't have those in World vs. World. Maybe you shouldn't have those. Just an idea.
Yeah, it's not ideal.
Banners.
Need
banners.
Skin. Siege skins. Siege skins. Let's go. Why not have the ability to put up massive banners of your guild on your keeps on Stone Mist, right? Hey, why not brag? I don't know. That sort of would be kind of fun. Seriously. But anyway, yeah, I will not interrupt this because I think this is a good place where we can actually start to wrap up a little bit here. So, Vallun and Kate, what are your top 3 things?
Vallun?
I would say just add features that improve the existing content, like challenge modes, hard modes, build templates.
Okay. Yeah, that's legit. I think I completely agree with that. I do.
That's all fair. Yeah.
I personally, one idea that I hadn't even thought about before that I really love is from your idea there, Val. Is actually like the hard mode to like some of the open world content. I think that could be really good actually, especially combined with like a guild, like a re-implementation of the guild system, like revitalizing the guild system, which has been a bit neglected. But yeah, no, I really like that. Okay. And then we've got to let Kate get some sleep, guys. We got to wrap this up quickly, okay? Do you have any top 3 things that you want to fix in Guild Wars 2?
3. Well, I mean, balance is the obvious one. Balance, communication, PR, things like a roadmap, and then I think they need to make things more accessible. Boost rewards, communicate with people, obviously, but boost rewards in PvP and World v World. There's enough rewards in PvE. They can boost those too, but they need to get a lot more people in these game modes and fast. Otherwise, they're going to keep losing players who are dedicated to. And Ham is PR manager.
Ham is PR manager. Yeah.
Boom. Yeah.
I'm down for that.
Yeah, I think we can work. Yeah, I think we can work with those ones. I think those are very good things. I think we've all made very good points. Look, guys, it's easy. Guild Wars serious. Watch the stream and fix the fucking game. It's not hard. Okay, come on. It's not difficult, guys. It's easy. All right.
If only.
And on that note, on that PMA, so we what a roller coaster of a tea time this has been, guys. It started off here we were PMA, okay, and then it just it started to go a bit downhill, didn't it, boys? Whoa! We managed to recover at the end. We've got back to PMA. So on that note, we reach the end of the show, guys. And that means it's time for something that is ultra PMA. It's time for the shilling. Bic, don't listen to this. You're not going to like it. Let's start shilling, boys. Subscribe. Let's go. Give me that cash, okay? Guild Wars 2. Big money. Referral links. Let's go. Thanks for watching, guys. And let's talk a little bit about our wonderful hosts. Brand new on the show. Recent delusional elitist, okay? It is the dynamic duo. Kate and Ham.
let me get Ham in here. Yeah, thank you guys for having me. I PvP just about exclusively, so.
Boom.
Is it true I'm the first girl on TeaTime VR?
That is actually not true. I can't believe it
was on TeaTime.
No, Kid the Traveler has been on before, but a very long time ago.
You should get PT.
Yeah, I did actually ask once, but she was busy. Feels bad.
Oh, okay, fair.
Yeah,
no, it's fine.
Yeah. So there you go. Yeah. Yeah. Finally. Phew. Come on, yeah, I'm not going to get banned anymore. Nice. There you go. TOS compliant. But there you go, guys. Link has been posted in the chat. Will be posted to everyone, okay? Of course. But, let's move on. I've been a big hiatus, actually, for our next guest. Okay? French. Okay? Has some good memes. ERP-er. Weeaboo. It's Sam.
You could have taken these last two So I've been on a big hiatus because I actually went full, like main IRL instead of playing video games and streaming them. I still stream every now and then on my own channel, and I make YouTube videos when I remember to, and when I'm not too tired from work. Used to do mostly raids, kind of decided to drop the raids, so I'm mostly streaming PvP or open world, which is... It's just not the same. It's kind of hard to make something like this work for me. But yeah, that's it. And since me saying something French in the chat has been requested, j'espère bientôt tous vous voir sur ma chaîne. There you go.
There we have it. And then in the bottom left-hand corner, the debate god. Debate lord. He has never lost an argument in his entire life, guys. Okay, he is the master of roleplay, the master of Guild Wars 2, nearly 40,000 AP, okay, 6 years of Thief experience, and the best Renegade main in all of Guild Wars 2. It's Vallun.
Yeah, so just have a little bit of a thing to expose here. The only reason I went on this tea time is to leech a teapot sub, so please, someone give me a teapot sub now. Yeah, that's all I want to say.
All right. And finally, hiding in the background and not even visible. It wouldn't, even if we had the cam, it would be too dark to see him anyway. It is... Okay, the man outside the plane, looking at it as it flies onwards. It's Frosty, Frost499. How you doing, man? What are you up to these days? Have you been streaming, actually?
I'm not playing the game, so, I don't need to show.
Okay. Well, there you go. But yeah, if he ever decides to stream and do stuff, it's Frost499, guys. Okay, that's where you can find him. And of course, you don't need to find me because guess what? You're already here. Okay, so there's no search necessary. Do you like the stream? Follow the stream. Hey, if you really like the stream, subscribe as well. Of course, subscribe to all of these fantastic gentlemen and our lady as well. First time I had to say that one. Okay, so be sure to check out all these guys, like excellent Guild Wars 2 content creators, guys. Okay, so get right on that right now. Follow, subscribe, and of course, gift subs too, guys. Okay, go ahead. You want to go ahead and just gift Vallun a sub. He wants that shit. Okay? He wants it. Just give, go on. Go on. Just give him a sub. Let's go. Okay. And of course, be sure to use our referral links when you're purchasing alt accounts or you're buying. You know what, guys? Just start buying the game for people to get them into it, right? Just go out and buy someone a copy of the game so we get more players in Guild Wars 2. Be sure to use our referral links. So yeah. Thank you guys for watching. Really hope you enjoyed the stream. It's been quite the ride. Okay. Thank you to my wonderful guests, and I'll make the bot post their links once more. There we go. You can find that below the stream as well, of course. And yeah, that's it. I'm gonna stick around a little bit. You know what? I'm gonna have a Discord. You know what? Just for memes, I'm gonna go in Discord after this. We're gonna have a Discord clown fiesta. Let's get fucking like Deroyer in there, dude. I want to hit like Deroyer. I don't know if you guys saw this. Actually, if you guys have been listening to this stream right now, like on YouTube or on Twitch right now, you've just been listening in the background. Deroyer has been going hard. He has been roasting hard as fuck in the chat, guys. You're gonna want to go back and see that. Okay, you really are.
The NA influence.
Okay. Yeah, he's gone to NA. He's started to go crazy. He's moving in on Guild Wars 2. He's going psycho. There, yeah, that's it for now, YouTube. Thank you guys so much for watching and or listening. Okay, and yeah, we'll see you guys around. Good show, team. See you guys later. Goodbye.